Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Bound for Glory event. It emanates from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a city that exemplifies the blue-collar attitude and the unparalleled work ethic as well as American pride. We welcome you to the birthplace...
Does anyone know any of the facts and stats about this pay-per-view?
I know for a fact that it was a waste of time doing it.
Fuck! Straight into it. Nice. Okay, so it's Bound for Glory 2011. I don't know where it happens. I don't know what's
in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Yes.
Because Bully Ray's about to rape all the
Oh, sorry.
Philadelphia.
Yes, it is. It is. Fuck, that out of context, that'd be so mental. But yeah, it is in Philadelphia. We don't know how big the crowd is, but I don't think any more than like 5,000 or 6,000.
Couldn't be.
I don't know how much the pay-per-view buy is, but I'm going to guess like 30,000. Because I remember TNA got like, Bound for Glory would have the most each year. And some years it'd be like 36, 40,000. Yeah, we'll just guess all of these things rather than looking it up.
Yeah, we'll just guess. And what would you guess? 7,000? What'd you say?
I said 30,000.
30,000?
Bro, 7,000 is
buys?
Fucking... Yeah.
Okay.
So this pay-per-view, it was... I didn't think it was too bad. I'm going to go through the card quickly. The card is Austin Aries versus Brian Kendrick for the TNA X Division Championship. Then there's RVD versus Jarlin. Then there's Crimson Matt Morgan. Sorry. His name's not Crimson Matt Morgan.
Crimson versus Matt Morgan.
Crimson versus Matt Morgan versus Samoan Joe. The original Samoan.
The original Samoan Joe.
Samoan Joe in a three-way match. Mr. Anderson versus Bully Ray in a Falls Count Anywhere Philadelphia street fight. Velvet Sky versus Madison Rain, Mickey James, Winter. Sorry. I saw Angelina Lovenass. I was going to say Anna.
Is that three people against each other and then Mickey James and Winter?
Guess what? We were never going to find
guess
out.
What? We don't fucking know and we watched it.
Then there's a classic match. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Sting versus Hulk Hogan with Ric Flair. And then Kurt Angle versus Bobby Roode. 9 matches. It's like a 3-hour long pay-per-view or 2.5 hours, whatever it is. Hey, the attendance is 3,585.
Jesus
and
Christ.
And the tagline for this, Bound for Glory 2011, We the People. That's what Wikipedia says. It might be edited and fake, but...
The fuck?
That's what Wikipedia says. I'll take a screenshot of it now. We the People.
It's in the graphic as well. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, fuck. It is in the graphic? Jeez, it's in the graphic. That's fucking disgusting.
How did TNA not sue WWE then for Jack Swagger's theme?
Swagger was after this, right?
Yeah, We the People would have definitely been after this.
Swagger and Dutch Mantel.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, fuck, man, that's right. If someone's hasn't ever watched TNA and you'd have to tell them what is TNA really quickly, particularly this era, like 2011, even like between 2006 and 2012. If you had to describe this era briefly to someone, how would you go about it?
I would describe it as, if you enjoy this, you're a wrestling lifer.
Ooh,
You're someone who truly loves wrestling. But then if you don't enjoy it, I don't blame you either.
Yeah. How about you?
My only thoughts about this right now is just I'm disappointed even just like looking at TNA playing in the background right now. I'm just like, God, this sucks. And even this TNA doesn't even have any Taz in it to laugh about. What a sorry state wrestling would have been in around this time. The PG era met with the double E era in TNA. Get the biggest tits you can.
Fuck. You had me fucking mesmerized. I was gonna say something else. Like, fuck. Okay, I reckon it's like a cake. Alright? TNA is like a cake. In that cake, there's like normal like flour and like shit like that. But in parts of that cake, there will be cat shit in the cake. Okay? And you, as you're going through good bits, you'll have to have that taste of the shit of the cat in your mouth as you go through. That's literally the best way I describe it. Is it's extremely interesting. It's some of the best shit. One of the craziest spots I've ever seen in my life is the one where Chris Daniels and Suicide do that Ultimate X match where Daniels comes down really hard and like lands on his neck, and I think Suicide just saves him from really, really hurting himself. And I saw that and I was like, holy fuck, TNA is something else. Like now that we've got like PWG and stuff, like all these other things, that's been around for ages as well, but like when you watch YouTube highlights of that, that, you say, fuck. That also has mental spots, like the cookedest shit. Yeah, TNA fucking, it's a mixed bag, man.
I mean, we say this, but then also whenever I think of the most cooked shit, I think of Lucha Underground and Penta facing those 3 Japanese chicks.
Oh.
And they're just jumping off the fucking, like, 3 stories up railing. I think of that. I don't think of the 4-sided ring TNA.
Yeah, no, that was really good. Way better than this fucking TNA shit. Miles fucking better. This had good bits in it though. Not gonna lie. Watching Brian Kendrick again made me a little bit.
Definitely, like TNA is something where you can definitely get the highs of it. They are very highs, just because they have the talent for it and they have the characters for it. But then, just, as you said, you get the cat shit as well.
Bro, there's last thing I wanted to say about it was fucking AJ Styles, man. He wrestled for fucking TNA. He carried fucking TNA. Like, there's other people, there's Angle and other people around him and stuff. Well, like, but dude, AJ Styles fucking carried this business, this whole fucking company on his back. He was that good. He was not just their Cena. He was like their Cena and their fucking Taker, bro. He was the guy, and he wasn't even like great build for wrestler. He was like he was looking good and healthy. He looked good, right? But he didn't look like a fucking star or anything like that. But he was that good that he was just able to like, carry it, yeah, bro. And he just looked sick. Everything he does, he did shit like back here that like, bro, common to see it now, but I swear, man, he was like a Jerry Lynn Rose next level. He knew stuff way before it was happening.
I did see like an analogy. I'm stealing this, but I did see a good analogy of how AJ Styles in TNA was basically what Bret Hart was to WWE in the early 90s, where like an extremely great worker who's like really carrying the business through his just pure workmanship.
Did Bret Hart draw though? I swear to God, I read something that Bret Hart didn't draw like all that much money.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, AJ Styles isn't drawing much for TNA either.
Anything else you guys want to add? Anything else you want to say?
Honestly, every time I re-look on it, I'm just so damn critical of that women's match. Like, it's just... TNA can't write for women at all.
Just a quick guess, right? No one looked this up. The shortest match was 7 minutes and 14 seconds.
Which was?
Have a guess.
The women's match?
Not the women's match.
The old people match?
The Eldons?
Yeah.
Dude, don't say that
so
RVD versus Jerry Lynn is the old people's match.
Sting and Hogan match?
Oh, fuck, I'm brain dead.
There's another one.
Is
that's
there
even...
another short one?
No, what is that?
No. Because I forgot about that. I assumed that you said that the old people's match was RVD versus Jerry Lynn, which is which is stupid. 7 minutes and 14 seconds was Crimson versus Matt Morgan and Samoan Joe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was pretty short. I think back then.
Yeah.
That deserved to be short. Who won that? Crimson?
Yes.
Crimson did win that?
Crimson won that.
Oh, fuck me, dude. That's probably started off
my
hatred for this.
He was given the key to Samoan at the end of the match. Samoan Joe came up to him and said, "Here's the key to Samoan. Enjoy it. Have a nice villa by the beach. Enjoy the benefits of living in Samoan."
Benefits of living in Samoa.
Alright.
Bound for Glory, 2011.
I'd like to introduce you to my new business partner, Dixie Carter.
There is no single name that defines an industry more than Hulk Hogan.
You have been conned.
I now control 100% of TNA.
You've done anything and everything that it takes to get to where you are right now, and I believe that you can beat Kurt Angle at Bound for Glory for the world title.
If you take care of Hulk Hogan and I take care of Kurt Angle, then together, you and I, Stinger, you and I will finally get this company back to where it belongs. To where it belongs. Stinger, I'll fight you at Bound for Glory, and if you can beat me, I'll give the company back to you and Dixie Carter.
Alright, so Bound for Glory 2011, opening promo. What are your first thoughts? I thought, how exciting would it be to have 3 icons like Sting, Hogan, and Flair at the same time? Like, Impact was spending money at this time, fair to say.
Was it money that they had, though?
Do you reckon they were just borrowing out of bank and getting further and further into debt and sinking their company?
See, like, the opening promo, the main showcase of what we're having on this pay-per-view that you spent $50 on, had Dixie Carter. A segment on Hulk Hogan hugging Dixie Carter and forming some sort of partnership.
Talking about how amazing, how much of a staple he is in the business of wrestling.
Yeah, like putting over fucking Hogan.
Yeah.
Like
somebody had brought over not her company, another
Exactly.
company, not to be named, but not her company.
So to have that, look, they had cool kind of build-ups, okay? Like there was a really nice angle of Kurt Angle suplexing, I couldn't see who it was, I think it was Austin Aries or something like that, but it looked really nice. The only thing I think TNA is lacking at this time is a cool crowd that serves as like a backdrop for these promos, because whenever you see a mad promo, they've got some like small...
It's a very close-up shot of the ring.
Yeah.
It's not displaying like a bigger stadium, a bigger like landscape.
Well, is this still in the Universal Studios, this one?
Possibly. We'll have
It
to...
doesn't look like it. It actually said Philadelphia.
So they probably haven't got that row of paid husky women to
No,
scream for the entirety of the match.
No crowd dances.
But still, just the fact that it's not iconic looking, it's not like special. You're watching people doing cool, great stuff. Like this is, you'll get the highest quality of wrestling from TNA at this time. I feel like this.
Yeah.
What some of their wrestlers, especially like Perk Angle and stuff, were showing. Like, it is the peak.
They've got all three Hardy Boys as well in this one.
Jeff, Matt, and
Hulk Hogan in his Ed Hardy shirt.
Jeff, Matt, and Ed, the Hardy brothers. And I bet I'll say it again for the record. I bet Taz is gonna sound like he does today when he's commentating Dark on AEW.
He definitely still looks the exact same.
He looks the exact same. That man does not age, and he does not sound any different. Like that New York, is that what it's like? Some American thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like New York or Bronx sort of thing.
It's tough. It's very un-Australian, but.
And now, TNA Wrestling and Direct Auto Insurance present the biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bound for Glory.
TNA X Division Championship match. Austin Aries versus Brian Kendrick.
The thing I like about watching these TNA pay-per-views is that you know the first match is always going to be class. It's
like a high-quality match with the best workers that they're going to put forward.
For sure. It's like this X Division title is like, I guess the Intercontinental title in WWE, but not what it is now. Like, now he may be on a SmackDown or Raw, someone will challenge for it. Not that we watch SmackDown or Raw,
no.
but like the value of this X Division title, like it's always being up for grabs. But back on the point. First match, X Division title match between Brian Kendrick and Austin Aries, who is the champion.
Kendrick walks out looking like a hippie. I guess that's his new gimmick, like a hippie Matt Riddle.
Yeah, he does. Matt Riddle, because he wasn't wearing the shoes.
No shoes, just those weird god things.
Hippie and a bit just like a Manson kind of vibe, I guess. Looks kind of evil and dark, and you know what I mean? Like, it looks like he's up to something bad. But the crowd got behind Aries, which is, I guess this is before he was like kind of exposed as being like kind of like a shit bloke.
Did they get behind Aries? It seemed pretty dead from what we were watching. No one was moving.
So, like, there were chants for Aries, right? But at the same time, we did see that pan over for that guy giving the thumbs down.
Yeah, the one guy.
So that makes me feel like most likely Aries is over, but he's meant to be the heel in this occasion.
Like, I think Taz says there's a massive ovation, and at that time no one's really chanting for Aries or anything. It's there's a slight chant that starts after that.
Yeah.
But it's not huge. My expectations for this match were like reasonably high, because I know Austin Aries is a good worker, and I'm a huge fan of Brian Kendrick. Our expectations were high, but
It started off alright. Or was it? In the early stage, Taz did confuse Austin Aries with Brian Kendrick, though, because Brian Kendrick has come out looking like some sort of malnourished ancient Greek farm boy. As best as you can describe it.
Right, so like I thought early on there were like some really smooth like headlock takedowns, and like countering that into the head scissors. Yeah. Like these guys are smooth. They're like technicians in the ring. Like watching them do stuff, it's a joy. But like there was a few things that I noticed. Kendrick badly missed a drop kick, and it really brought the mood down for just like a few seconds because Aries sold it, but it was clearly missed. And I think even Kendrick turned around for a second to look at it, but...
There was definitely some misses. I think it was mostly on Kendrick's behalf that I saw. I think Aries worked a pretty decent match.
Aries did, yeah. I'd agree.
Brian Kendrick did have a really good tornado DDT, but it was like kicked out before it hit for 2.
Bro, actually, the commentary in this is incredibly refreshing because I think like it's play-by-play commentary done by Mike TNA. Like Taz, okay, he's all right for a color commentator.
Yeah.
He's always just done that kind of it. Mike TNA is so refreshing hearing him calling actual wrestling moves because at this time WWE, I don't think like they really did. They just like
they don't.
They've never ever done it really like.
Neither does AEW. They don't call the moves really.
I guess okay in AEW
they
like,
call
you've got Excalibur.
Excalibur calls like most of the moves. Yeah. If you're watching like Dark, right, it's usually not them calling spots.
They're
like,
just chatting. It's like watching the fucking cricket.
Yeah, it's like when they're just chatting. Like it's literally like watching the cricket. They just and sometimes they get Ricky Starks or like someone else and like
it's always like Team Taz guys as well, and then Taz just like rips on them for it.
Exactly.
It's just to prove that he's the leader. Like he still hasn't gotten out of that mangina mindset.
But look, this match, everything was cool about it. I really liked it. I thought it was good. The Brian Kendrick gimmick, if I watched maybe Impact, like I might have got into the gimmick or something, but I thought it's cool enough for me.
Yeah, the match had like a good overall storyline where they would keep doing that move where Kendrick would arm drag Aries and then Aries would put Kendrick in a leg lock and starts to get out of it. Yeah. And after the third time, Kendrick would get away. And they had a similar spot with the drop kicks as well.
Yes,
and then there's pretty much the same thing happened for the pretty much last spot of the match where with the slice bed over the top rope. That was very nice.
Was that just following a sequence of absolute receipts though?
When he was upside down, Kendrick was like when Kendrick was completely upside down. I think Aries had him up like he was gonna suplex him, but he held him up for a bit, right? Like hesitated.
Yeah.
And in that point, Kendrick landed a couple of knees while upside down on Aries, and they looked pretty tough.
Yeah, it was after taking like 3 solid elbows to like the jaw in the corner. It did not look natural, and a kick to the face. It was pretty great.
What I thought was the best about that sliced bread was Austin Aries' sell.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like when someone would sell for Austin after he'd do like a 6 stunner on someone. Like when like the Rock sell. Or like even like the one that Scott Hall did. Like he once did like a really nice sell. Even one that Shane McMahon did. It looked like all class.
Gave it some proper respect.
Yeah, so the match ended with a really classy looking brainbuster. Like I'm sure it was extremely safe. Aries looks like he knows what he's doing, and so does Brian Kendrick.
Brian Kendrick looked like he ducked his head. It was pretty good.
It was really good, and it went for the 3 count. Like, it was a deserved 3 count. It was like when Kenny Omega hits the 1-winged angel. You know at that point that this is going.
This is the end of the match now. Yeah.
This is the end of the match. It's 3. So all up thoughts.
It was a very good match. It was like a reverse of the.
That didn't sound like a very good match.
It was like sort of like a reverse of the Last Man Standing match.
Between?
At Royal Rumble between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Where it's just like the first half is great and the end is just complete shite. It was like the start of it, complete shite, and then it got into it a bit and it was pretty good.
That's very good. I wouldn't even say the first half. I didn't even find the first half too bad. It was kind of laying the groundwork, I guess. There was a little bit of a few fuck ups there, but good ending overall.
This was like Ospreay versus Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
This was like the same caliber, but this was in 2011. Like, what would have WWE been doing in 2011? Not to go too far off tangent. What would WWE have been doing? Like
Randy Orton matches.
Like Alberto Del Rio Royal Rumble winner.
Really?
Was that year? 2011.
I'll have to fact check that. But...
Tremendous match by both men. Outstanding physical contest for the X Division title. Couldn't think of a better way, Mike, to kick off this pay-per-view than a match like that. I tip my cap to both men. Congratulations to Aries retaining his title in an extremely tough test. Great match.
Couldn't agree.
Tracy Brooks, you put those tits away. Karen Jarrett, 2011.
They've broken one of the first rules of wrestling. Don't use animals or children. Okay? So after this classic opener, they've got a couple of kids sitting around a table and this woman who we later know is known as Tracy.
Brooks, yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy Brooks.
Tracy Brooks, well done. Good, you've done your research. And she's just playing with these kids, and another woman comes in, and she gets the kids to leave, and these kids have taken maybe, I think, an hour acting class or something like that, and they like, it's very melodramatic, and they exit.
Honestly, the kids were the best workers in that segment. And like, they were the best actors in that segment. They were the best part of that segment.
Because then some lady comes in, okay, whose name I didn't get. Did you get her name?
No, not at all.
No one knows? Okay, so she comes in, and she unleashes on this woman, Tracy Brooks, for...
with her kids?
Yeah, with her kids.
She says the kid's mum.
So that's the kid's mum, and she says, "Don't ever come near my children again." Right? And then she says, the cameraman zooms in on the breasts of this woman, Tracy Brooks, and the words of the other woman are, "Put those things away." It's so up and down. Like, this is what you get with TNA. Like,
so I'm assuming the other woman's about to have a match later on in this card.
Yeah, so they what I did notice is that they brought out a special guest referee outfit. And you know what looked extra tacky about that? Is that on that outfit it said Impact Wrestling, right? But the microphone next to it, which was recording what they were saying, said TNA Wrestling.
They could only afford to change the branding on certain objects.
Dixie Carter's only got so much money, brother.
Oh, so much money.
Okay, Tracy, you ever go near my kids again, so help me God. And I thought I told you to put those things away. We don't need to confuse Cody anymore. He's already confused enough. Now, I have a little surprise for you. I brought something special to wear this evening for the biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Oh, wait a minute.
Are you kidding me? That's right. Little referee outfit.
Are you kidding?
Am I kidding? Did you think I was going to let those 4 prostitutes run around that ring unsupervised?
Prostitutes, let the
That's
girls
right,
have
Tracy.
a chance.
That's right.
Special guest referee.
The girls are going to have a great
myself,
match. Let them have a
Karen
normal
Jarrett.
ref.
Full Metal Mayhem match. Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn.
I think the biggest takeaway from this match is that the crowd always loves RVD.
No matter what he does.
No matter what he does.
No matter how
what
high
state
he
he
is.
Yeah. What state he's in.
That's true.
He has achieved the space where he's eternally over. Very few people have achieved that. Think about who else ever has
Jeff
achieved
Hardy.
that. Jeff Hardy has achieved that, but he lost it for a second after accents not to be named.
Okay.
In this company as well.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan has achieved that.
Daniel Bryan, yeah.
He's all over. But other than being like a top level, no one's been as consistently over as RVD has.
That's true, man. Rey Mysterio's always been a face. Everyone's always like Rey Mysterio. He's always been over with the kids and over with like people who like wrestling as well, and people who are like super big marks as well. Like, everyone likes Rey Mysterio. But yeah, I'd agree. RVD is good. Like Jerry Lynn, I never knew about Jerry Lynn when I was a kid, and I'm like a wrestling lifer. I've liked wrestling all my life, and I'm 25 now, so I never liked Jerry Lynn. I would have loved him, but I never really knew of him. I've only discovered him in my later years.
So, have you guys watched a Jerry Lynn match before? Because this was my first, definitely.
I actually tried to get old mate here to watch one of these, the original one in ECW, and it was like, I think it's from the 90s, like 98 or 97 or something like that, and I think he liked it. I think he thought it was pretty good.
I couldn't watch it. I thought it was one of the shittest things I'd ever seen. I hate ECW in the 90s. It's just like, I get the value of it, don't get me wrong, but my god, I can't deal with the shitty $200 Sony camcorder production quality they've got that Paul Heyman probably stole from Best Buy or Radio Shack, however old he was when he stole it. I just can't deal with it. It's just ridiculous. It's like you're in that ridiculous opera theatre.
The bingo hall?
Yeah, the bingo hall in Chicago where JBL spat at someone or whatever.
Okay, but think about this, right? That match had so many of the moves that, like, wrestlers now use, like, a lot more. Like, there were moves where he would go outside the ring. Like, RVD was over the guardrail and he was, like, bent over. And Jerry Lynn would go and do, like, drop a leg on him and stuff like that. Moves that are, like, now super common.
Yeah.
Like, those guys, like, dead set, were changing the game Like, they were way ahead of their time at that point.
So far, this card has consisted of a lot of very modern wrestling techniques.
For sure.
Yeah.
Other than that little vignette between matches, that was pretty bad.
That was good.
Like,
yeah.
this match was pretty interesting because the audience was behind it. Like, the audience was really getting into it, and I think that's the first thing.
Yeah. So for most of this match, the action follows as RVD is controlling the action. He's putting Jerry Lynn through big moves. But first big weapon spot that we see is Jerry Lynn drop kicking a chair into RVD's face, and we do see RVD have a little bit of busted lip after that.
Yeah. So what I saw in that one was, before that I thought there was one pretty bad botch. Right. Jerry Lynn tries to go for the crossbody onto RVD, and RVD's holding onto the ropes.
Yeah.
And he hits him, I think, just a little bit too softly, or not high enough.
Yeah.
And they both just collapse. I think they go for a pin, and then they're sitting there for a bit trying to see how they're going to continue with the match. Because you can tell RVD's pretty cooked, of course. By his own admission, he's probably quite cooked. And he's thinking, how are we going to transition now from being on the floor to out there to continue our spots of the match?
There was one moment, another botch that happened, or I think it was a botch, where basically like this entire time I was trying to like gauge just how cooked RVD was in this, and it was when he gets Jerry Lynn into the corner, ladders on the floor, chairs on the floor behind him. For whatever reason, he jumps onto the ring ropes and does a lion salt back into the middle of the ring, picks up the chair, and then just takes a drop kick from Jerry Lynn, who's just like gotten straight out of the corner. Like, I'd been waiting for that moment. Just that spectacular moment when you realise, wow, RVD really is just all a facade of just how cooked he is. He just does a lot of flips and parkour and shit.
When does he want to do a flip? He wants to do a flip right now. That's all.
That first big kind of spot of the match was Jerry Lynn sliding dropkick into a ladder placed on the floor near the turnbuckle, with RVD standing on the floor near the apron, and he's also got a chair in his hand, so he comes in quite fast, sliding drop kick, and by the time he hits Rob Van Dam, like, I was worried, because you know that Joey Mercury incident, that one time with Joey Mercury's face?
Ladder goes up and busts open.
Like, whenever, like, I see a ladder coming at someone really fast, I always, like, for a second, like, cringe quickly, but then I thought, you know what, like, it's not that as dangerous, and it was a nicely executed spot. It looked really good. After that, they really nailed that bit where they had the ladder in the ring and it was leaning on the middle rope, and some absolutely terrific spots there. Like, there was one really nice, quick, smooth suplex from RVD onto Jerry Lynn, onto that ladder, and the way he bounced off it looked like it looked prime, like it looked serious.
There was a missed spot where Jerry Lynn was setting up RVD to take a leg drop onto a ladder. RVD moves away just in time. Jerry Lynn takes the ladder onto his legs. That was pretty decent as well.
Yeah, that was alright. I thought that was pretty interesting. There was this one really... it wasn't, I wouldn't say an inherently dangerous spot, but they turned it into quite a dangerous spot when Jerry Lynn tries to do a sunset flip onto RVD on one side of the ropes. So Jerry Lynn's on one side of the ropes, RVD's on the other side, and he tries to do that sunset flip. As he does that over the ropes, there is that ladder which is leaning onto the guardrail, which they're supposed to land on, but unfortunately, Jerry Lynn misses with his aim, and RVD's head hits straight onto the guardrail bottom side, like the bottom vertical pole.
Yeah, Jerry Lynn's foot just went straight through the ladder rung. He just like missed it and went straight through the middle of it, down onto the floor.
Yeah, that's right. Jerry Lynn's foot actually went into the ladder, and that led to...
moved the ladder.
Yeah, they moved the ladder, so it looked really dangerous. And the second you saw RVD on the floor, you were just thinking, shit, like you saw that today on like Dynamite or like an AEW or even WWE. You'd be like super worried. You'd be like, shit, and I'm pretty sure there'd be a huge reaction. Like, the referees didn't give a sign or anything, so it wasn't too bad. And then
after that, it pretty much goes on to the ending spot of the match. They do move on to the end of the match where RVD sets up a ladder on Jerry Lynn in the corner, going for the coast to coast.
Yeah.
With a chair in hand, diving across. RVD lands it perfectly.
Absolutely nails it.
Beautiful spot.
Smashes him in the head.
Smashes him.
Take that, Jerry Lynn.
Then covers Jerry Lynn using the ladder as well for 1-2-3 pin.
And it's absolutely classic. 13 minutes and
Spectacular.
13 minutes and 14 seconds.
13 minutes and 14 seconds. I went into this match thinking it'll probably be pretty shit because these guys are like not heaps old, but like they're like probably way past their primes, and they're gonna try and do adventurous stuff and prove that they're capable, and they're gonna miss everything. But you know what? Apart from that little bit of a dangerous spot onto RVD, this match was alright. Like, it wasn't terrible. There was botches in it which were like pretty bad, but they had a decent time when they had that ladder in the ring onto the middle rope and doing spots on that. Like, I didn't mind that, and the finish was quite nice to see. It's not a comparison to the original, the ECW. I forgot the name of the pay-per-view, man, but I'll find it later. It's not the same as that, but good on them for having this match. And you could have this match on anything today currently, and it would kick ass. R.I.P. fella.
R.I.P. fellas.
R.I.P. fella. Anything else to add? 5 stars?
5 stars.
5 stars. 5 stars.
Wow. Wow. Oh, man. Did those boys leave it out there or what? Poor Jerry Lynn looks like he got hit by a truck. Van Dam's going to be feeling this match even though he was victorious. Both these guys are going to be hurting later. Not tomorrow, later and tomorrow. That was just nasty metal, full metal mayhem to its highest level.
3-way match. Samoa Joe versus Matt Morgan versus Crimson.
Joe coming out of the woodworks and all of a sudden has no shot in hell winning the tournament. He's going out on purpose and injuring these people, the front runners, the guys that might be, pose a threat to winning the tournament. That's another case of sour grapes and, and being a little 6-year-old schoolyard bitch.
It's unusual. I get a little violent. I start breaking some rules. I do things that maybe the company doesn't like. And all of a sudden, I find myself in the inevitable 3-way. A 3-way where 2 men are pitted against me for my transgressions. It's no different, boys. It's no different, Morgan. It's no different, Crimson. They've tried it before. They will try it again. And I guarantee you, I've been in this spot before. I've had everything stacked against me. And gentlemen, you will find out. It will not matter.
Okay, so a triple threat between Samoa Joe, Matt Morgan,
and Mini Matt Morgan.
Mini Matt Morgan. Crimson. Samoa Joe, for sure, got a great legacy in wrestling. I love watching him work. He's a real tough guy. He looks like a love child of, I think, Taz, Kurt Angle, and, someone who's, can do, high-flying shit a little bit.
Personally, he is, out of everyone in Impact in TNA, he is one of my favorite characters. He's someone that I personally view as, around this side of the company, could have carried the company as one of its main heels. He can act a certain way where he can just radiate heat.
He cut a great promo at the start where he stated he is going to get into the inevitable threesome with Matt Morgan and Crimson, and also says that they're always trying to come for him.
Them boys.
So that them boys are always trying to come for him. So that really got me ready for that. The absolute spectacular match that we're about to see.
What happens between the boys?
Some absolute carny shit. It starts with a team up where Matt Morgan and Crimson go against Joe, and they basically home alone it through where Samoa Joe McAllister just plods the way through and just knocks over Matt Morgan and Crimson as the two of them just get in each other's way and accidentally hit each other. And then just as the match goes on, it just devolves into this little Matt Morgan trying to go off at big Matt Morgan. And then I think my favourite part was when the intern camera guy missed a spot where Samoa Joe was on the apron, fell off, And then for whatever reason, Crimson fell back into the ring and started like clutching his knee. Mike Tenay's just like, what happened there? And Taz just like racks up his fourth. I don't know when asked that question.
I didn't get.
Like, straight off the bat, okay, I've got to say this. Why is Matt Morgan not a star in the WWE? Surely Vince just looks at him and sees, like, he's really big, he's white, he's strong, and he looks cool. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I find him charismaless.
Yeah, he's probably, he seems like he's devoid of, like, a big vacuum, like a black hole of charisma. But still.
He does look a bit plain, but at the same time, he is everything Vince dreams of.
Yeah, everything Vince dreams of, man. Like, Vince would have had him and made him at least like a United States Intercontinental Champion for a while to keep the flippy midgets away. Like, for sure.
Flippy midgets away.
I reckon without a doubt.
Yeah, but he still would have lost to like Rey Mysterio around this time anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have just maybe like subbed in Matt Morgan to that like Giants match against Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
that's all they would. That's all Vince. Yeah, instead of the Great Khali, someone that could actually move.
So in this match, Joe hits this really nice suicide dive through the top and middle rope, and it looks just stellar. And like it's actually a diving forearm as well on the replay. When you watch the replay, you realize not just a suicide dive; it's a diving forearm through there. And just as he does it, immediately after, Matt Morgan goes to the top rope and does one of the laziest crossbodies. And he lands on his feet, and the camera angle they use is the worst one, really, in the sense of kayfabe, because it really shows him landing square on his feet.
He lands on his feet, planted on the ground, before he ever touches mini Matt Morgan.
Like, I hate to keep talking how good Samoa Joe is, but he is just... His chops sound like Kenny Omega's or like anyone else's. Like, he's got like really, really nice chops. The slaps as well that he does to people's faces, they must be stiff, but it's so good. And just his ring demeanor, like, there was a bit where Crimson was on the floor and he was just like getting up and Samoa Joe just kicks him in the head. And I looked at it and I was like, you see that a lot in like New Japan and stuff these days, but a lot of just kicking the guy in the head while they're down and stuff from the heels. But I'm sure it's been a thing for a long time, but it's done in a really nice heelish way.
It's the psychology of the match that Samoa Joe just excels in. Where like the little emotions, the little facial expressions that he even makes. Like, for example, that spot after Matt Morgan, he crossbodies Crimson and they both lay down on the ground, and the close-up on Joe's face as he's making that weird smirk that he makes all the time, where he's got the one-up on both of them.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant character work.
Do you reckon Samoa Joe knows about the Samoan shower?
What is the Samoan shower?
In our school, we used to have this thing called the Samoan shower.
Yeah.
It was when you'd finish PE or like sport, you'd just like use about like a quarter of a can of deodorant on yourself. So you'd just like more or less you'd go hard with the deodorant all over your body kind of, and then you'd change back in your school uniform and you'd put some deodorant over your uniform as well, and then you go back to school, back to humanity.
Nice.
Back to civilization, should I say. The boys' locker room is not a place of civilization.
No.
It really isn't.
So the match goes on for 7 minutes and 14 seconds.
Only 7 minutes and 14
only
seconds.
7 minutes.
It didn't go a second longer than it needed to.
So it ends with a spear from Crimson. Not the best spear, just an okay looking spear. And he gets the pin at 7 minutes and 14 seconds.
So what do you guys think about that? Too short? Too long?
I feel a little bit shortchanged. I was like, triple threat match between Joe, who I'm keen to see, Matt Morgan, who I'll give a chance to, and Crimson, who I've never heard of, so might as well give them the benefit of the doubt as well. But what we got was a little showcase of Samoa Joe's ability and a few big man spots from Matt Morgan. Nothing really to make me like Crimson, and just generally a lackluster match, really. I hate to say it. I'm guessing maybe one of you disagrees with me, but
I don't know. At least I got to see how Samoa Joe just like actually like does a little bit of ring work and just like controls how the match goes. But I just couldn't help but look at Crimson and just think, what the hell are you doing wearing that Ed Hardy shirt and you've got one half of your body that is just thick, non-detailed tribal tattoos and the other half is just random Japanese letters or words and then just like some weird ghost tiger around it. How am I supposed to get behind this guy?
he's been booked well. Like, they're looking after him. He's just won this triple threat match. they're pushing him for sure. But like, I don't know what they're seeing in him. I remember in the promo in the beginning, you were saying, "I've been to Iraq a couple of times" or something like that, and I think that's like
Dixie Carter for the troops.
Exactly right. That's exactly what it is. Like that's Dixie Carter kind of like that's her vibe. That's what she wants to have, the supporting our troops and stuff. Like 'cause that's a vibe that Vince has as well. Like for a long time, supporting the troops. But they also go to Saudi Arabia now. So I guess Saudi Arabia and the troops, it's not that far apart. Like Saudi Arabia,
same.
Not America's ally probably. God knows. We won't even worry about that.
Yeah, let's not get into Saudi Arabia. Let's not get into the Saudis.
Gotta say, interesting turn of events. The athlete with the least experience got the victory. But as you said, stays undefeated.
Almost right place, right time for the unbeaten Crimson to get the win on Samoa Joe in the triple threat match.
You're right, Mike, and that's a big part of being successful in this game is having great timing and being in the right place at the right time.
Falls Count Anywhere, Philadelphia Street Fight. Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson.
I don't need no introduction. You all know who I am. But for those of you who've been living with your head up your ass for the past 15 years, I'll tell you who I am. I'm the biggest, I'm the baddest, the roughest, the toughest, the meanest pro wrestler walking in this business today. I'm Bully Ray. Anderson, you think you got me right where you want me because you challenged me to a Falls Count Anywhere match in Philadelphia? You gotta be kidding me. Let me let you in on a little secret, something that I've never admitted before. I've been exploiting this city for 15 years, raping its fans, milking them for every single dime they're worth. I got 7 cars, I got 5 houses, and because of the white trash in this city who I've been abusing and taking advantage of. Anderson, I'm gonna take care of you tonight in a match you got no business being in. Screw you, and screw Philadelphia. I'm Bully Ray. I'm from New York City.
Okay, so this is a match that I was really looking forward to because I really don't rate Mr. Anderson. I've never rated him. I reckon he's got like a bit of charisma, but I always thought in WWE whenever I watched his matches, he was just another average guy who had matches with people like The Undertaker and like all these great feuds. I never knew why, and this match has kind of turned me, even though some of the stuff that happened in this match is not very great for Mr. Anderson. I still reckon it's interesting how it plays out. So before the match,
a great promo about Bully Ray.
Bully Ray just generates this monumental heat instantly. What does he do, boys?
He says a very forbidden thing. We have to forget, we're in 2021 and this is in 2011. Like, back in 2011, it's still inexcusable and stuff, right? It's like bad, it's really bad to do stuff, to mention what he does, but this was it was a great promo, and he is the real deal. It's like Eddie Kingston tier promo. Like, he is serious, man. Like, you feel what he's saying, and he's tough. But this was a bit far, but it still had the shock kind of value for me watching it.
Yeah.
For me to say, damn, alright, it's intense.
Like, it brought on like the intensity of the match, where the follow-up shot where like he's walking out the ring right after he says that, almost like a mic drop moment, where he's walking out with all the heat of the crowd brewing right after that.
For sure. He would have been a huge favourite. He is quite selfless in doing that, because he would have got a huge pop in Philadelphia. Everyone would have got behind him. Like, he had to take that step to make sure that they'd really give him a hard time. But straight into the match, Bully Ray is stiff as anything. He really goes out to hurt people. When he hits chops on Anderson, you can see Anderson immediately like pulling back and like moving to the floor as if he doesn't want one. You see Bully Ray picks him back up, puts his arm on the rope and chops the lights out of him. Like, it's unexplainable. Like, it's crazy how hard he hits him with these chops and slaps.
Anderson's also not in the best shape of his life. A bit of fat around his chest and his stomach, but all the better to take chops with. Right.
They were like Walter tier Gustav Cannon chops. Like, those things just echoed throughout that little dinky stadium they had going there. The second that happened, it was like everyone snapped back to watching it like intently.
This is what kind of got me into liking Anderson in this match. That he got outside the ring. He was doing some real nice heel work. He grabs a sign from the crowd, and he brings it in the ring, like shows it off a bit, and then hits Bully Ray with it. And the sound that comes off it is shocking. You think, what was in that? Turns out to be a dead end sign. So
I thought it was going to be like a painting canvas or something. Like that was just intense.
Right, so that would have hurt him.
It bent straight away.
And he hit him again with him immediately after.
Multiple headshots in this match, stuff that the WWE would have cut conveniently
For
out
sure.
of their...
Yeah.
You would not see this in the WWE network at all.
Those hits to the head still weren't the worst thing about Bully Ray's head. Like Dixie Carter needs to go up and tell him to cut his sideburns. They were just detached from the rest of his hair. It was ridiculous.
It looked pretty silly. The thing with Bully Ray is he's a bit of a fat guy, but he looks like a badass kind of guy, and it really showed when he was doing the slaps and the chops. And there was a bit where Anderson brings in this guardrail from outside. Just before that happens, right, he hits Bully Ray in the head with a beer, right, and he sells it so nicely. Even as tough a guy as he is, Bully Ray's still he's one for the business. Like, he sold the beer shot. And what happened immediately after the beer shot?
Some strange woman in the crowd that was just getting way too excited just started dipping her fingers into her beer and just flicking it at Anderson and just flicking it at Bully Ray. And then when that wasn't doing anything, she just dinked a whole little bit of a cup straight onto him, and Anderson just looks straight up at her and just glares her down, and she just sort of scurries off, just backwards prancing away from there.
It's so funny because she didn't know how kind of bad that is in wrestling. You could tell she wasn't really a wrestling fan. Maybe she was, who are we to judge, but it didn't seem like...
Let's be honest, what probably happened was she was brought along by her husband. She enjoyed it more than she thought she would. Had a few beers. Thought it'd be fun to get involved.
I wouldn't put it past her. After that, they go to the stage, and then this is where the match, for me, it comes down to this. Okay, this is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Are they going to give us the full treatment? Are they going to go backstage? Are they going to go to the concourse of the stadium that they're in? Maybe even out into the streets of Philadelphia. They don't have the budget for that, but maybe even at least to the concourse. I kid you not, they go about 3 meters off stage into the first room past the stage, and they spend maybe 2 minutes in that room where there's a nice pile driver done from Bully Ray, but then they just go back straight onto the stage. This is a discount Falls Count Anywhere match. They didn't give you a real expedition match. This was just the stage, a little bit up to the stage right, and the ring.
It was a hardcore match with a little stroll in between. That's all it was.
So when they get back in the ring, Anderson's trying to get this guardrail in, and he's trying to do a couple of cool spots, but as he brings the guardrail in, he realizes how difficult it actually is.
So funny. That thing looked so heavy. He just tried to pick it up and then just looked like he was struggling so much.
Taking it through the ring ropes, he really struggled, but he managed to, by the time he got it in, Bully Ray was waiting, and he knocked him down straight away with a nice stiff shot. It looked okay, but there's a decent amount of saving of it because Bully Ray sells a really nice back body drop onto the guardrail, and it looks sick. It looks really nice. And he bends it with his weight. And immediately after that, right, Anderson does a top rope senton onto the guardrail where Bully Ray's lying down. But luckily, just in the last second, Bully Ray pulls away. And Anderson, when I watched it, it looked like he kind of overshot it, but just the slightest bit. But it still looked safe.
He oversaw his dive.
He overshot his... After this, there's a really nice Bubba Bomb through the table, and it looks real nice. And that table's on the inside of the ring.
Real nice. It's real nice.
Even Vince would look at this and say, yeah, I could enjoy this. Okay, so Anderson does his mic check, which is effectively a reverse rock bottom. It's similar to Baron Corbin.
It's the Miz, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the Miz's finisher. Skull crushing. No, it's not.
No.
It's different than skull crushing finales. It's like kind of like Baron Corbin's End of Days, but without the full motion. It's just when he gets them and pulls them back. I'm trying to think who else has that move. Zack Ryder. Does Zack Ryder have that move? He's got something similar to that. Zack Ryder's not even Zack Ryder anymore. It's Matt Cardona. That's why he used to have a move similar to that, right? Or was it not him?
Not too sure. I just know it was not very great.
Yeah, well, it's a reverse rock bottom. It doesn't look very good, but he does it to him on the guardrail, and it hits Bully Ray's head right on the edge of the guardrail, and he goes for the pin, which is only for 2. And at this stage of the match, I'm thinking, damn, these guys are going hard. Like, they've both taken decent spots off the guardrail. Decent bumps off the guardrail, should I say. And they're both kind of looking to do a nice big spot here. And what comes next?
So the match devolves back onto the outside, where there's already a table set up by Bully Ray, as the law of wrestlings go.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever sets up the table
Goes through the table.
So Mr. Anderson sets up Bully Ray on the table,
Yep.
and slowly hobbles back up to the ring. You can tell he's a bit dazed at this point as
Bleeding
well.
from the nose as well.
Yeah. He takes a few too many steps to get up to the rope, eventually gets up there, going on for what I assumed was the planned finish of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Put Bully Ray through the table, and he completely misses him.
He overshoots it by, I'd say, at least half a meter. Because he hits his, like, shoulder on the way down on the edge of the table, like, just slightly. Slightly enough that you hear a noise. And this is one of those spots that, of course, they'd replay and show again and again. They don't replay this. This is a big fucking botch. And it's right at the end of the match. And you can see Anderson, like, he says something like, oh, shit, or like, oh, fuck, like, I hurt myself. But it's bad.
Yeah. It didn't look good.
Worst thing is that it's not too bad. They recovered quick. He took a mic check, so they had to quickly improvise the change of the match into Bully Ray getting another mic check through the table this time. This really was Anderson getting rock bottom through a table. Like, if you looked at it, it was Anderson getting rock bottom through a table. But unfortunately, that was how the match ended. And it was a sour note to an otherwise okay match.
Did they show a replay of how it ended?
They did not show
Not a single replay.
Not a single replay they did show a replay of the reverse rock bottom, but they didn't show a replay of the senton. But Taz does say, this is criminal what Taz says.
It was the best part of the end of the match. The best part of the commentary. Taz again.
Taz at the end of the match at 14:33 with the mic check through the table, winner being Ken Anderson, Mr. Anderson. Taz says, it's important to call an audible sometimes. And then laughs.
He starts laughing. He just tries to cover his botch and just giving up kayfabe. And he just does his trademark, just rambles on, just starts to try and talk about what they did in the match. And then he's just like, he can't talk about the complete, like, almost Mr. Anderson just breaking his neck going down. And it's just like, well, yeah.
Shit happens.
Yeah, and then it's just Mike TNA coming back in. It's just like, I'm not saving you again.
If Taz was in Australia, people would say, Taz, mate, you're a fair dinkum Aussie bloke. Because he says it like it is. Like, he doesn't beat around the bush. Like, what he did there was call an audible. He knows that only, like, proper full-on wrestling fans are watching this TNA stuff. No casuals are watching it. Like, he's got 20,000 pay-per-view buys. He just gives it to the fans. Just goes, yep, gotta call an audible sometimes, and then laughs at it with Mike TNA. Good on Taz.
Taz is a legend, and he fixed that because he forgot how bad the botch was, and it was just like, oh, Taz, you're at it again, aren't you? He's like the drunk uncle at like Christmas dinner or something.
Taz, how does Taz's song go again?
How does Taz's song go again?
Yeah.
I don't know. How does it go again? Mangina. Hooks his son.
Wow!
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you gotta call an audible. And that's exactly what Anderson did. He called an audible. The mic check worked better. Just driving Bully Ray face first for that table that Bully Ray had set up. Poetic justice. Kind of crazy how that happened. What a physical matchup. Good Lord.
Eric Bischoff's nepotism.
All right. Look, son, I know you've been there for us. You've been in the right place at the right time, made the right calls, and been able to do it in a way that no one has figured this thing out. And I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. But tonight's going to be a little bit different. Tonight, two things have to happen. Number one, obviously, Hulk's going to win. Okay? That's obvious. Number two, and I even really talked to Hulk about this, but to me, we have to take Sting out permanently. I want him going out on a stretcher, and I don't ever want him coming back. It's going to get ugly, but I need you to have my back. Can you be there?
I got your back, Dad.
Are you sure? Because it's going to get ugly.
I'm sure. I got you covered.
All right. It's a big moment, man. You've grown up in this business. You've been around it all your life. Tonight's the night.
It's here. Been waiting a long time.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right, let's get it done.
So an hour and 20 minutes into the pay-per-view, and what are we feeling so far?
Honestly, it's been better than I expected. It's definitely exceeded what I thought I was going to see. But at the end of the day, it still was TNA.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I'm probably I'm looking more for where all the botches are coming from. Like, I'm out for that sort of stuff. Like, I couldn't really give too much of a shit about these storylines from however long ago.
But could you give a shit about this next angle of the two Bischoffs, father and son, cutting a promo between them? What do you think about this?
It tugs at the heartstrings, honestly.
It does. It makes it a really family affair, like all of wrestling really is.
So what are we seeing here?
We're getting a scope of someone filming from outside the room, Bischoff talking to a ref. At this point, we don't really know who this ref is. It just looks like he's setting up a screwy finish for the Sting match. And he's talking about, that Hulk has to go over. And the ref is agreeing. And then eventually we do find out that this ref is Bischoff's son, Garrett Bischoff.
Garrett Bischoff, what a legend. Known by all marks, the man himself. This is probably top 10 awkward promos I've ever seen. There's just one really classically cringe part where Bischoff Sr. and Bischoff Jr. shake hands and they say in a really non-genuine kind of strange way, I love you. Not I love you, son. It's just an off the top kind of a spontaneous I love you.
I love that Bischoff just essentially books that entire match live on the pay-per-view. And it's like the camera guy's elevated himself from just completely shaking all over the place, looking at people's hands and tits throughout this pay-per-view to a perfect deadpan, The Office style shot of just some absolute carny shit.
It is very The Office, isn't it?
It seriously is. Bischoff is just like the Michael Scott in that, and he's talking to one of his little drones, who just happens to be his son. But does Garrett Bischoff do anything after this?
I think Garrett Bischoff he just did a small stint as a wrestler, I think with TNA, and then he was a ref for a bit, but I don't think he's ever done anything. He's a product of classic wrestling nepotism.
So he pretty much is Bischoff's drone then.
I'd say on a level of Curtis Axel to The Rock in terms of third or second generation wrestlers, he'd be maybe 0.1 above Curtis Axel.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That spectrum could be defined with him on one end of it, rather than old Kurt. There's one other line in this which I really, really loved actually, is when Bischoff Sr. says, we need to take Sting out permanently. And I'm thinking damn man, they are going for that edgy kind of crowd here.
What the hell? Did he say, I've got your back, Dad?
Eric called him son.
Wow. Eric Bischoff, referee Jackson James.
Well, that explains a lot, I guess. I mean...
What Bischoff said, you've been there for us? Always the right time, the right place?
Wow, Jackson James is...
the son of Eric Bischoff?
Four-way match, TNA Women's Knockout Championship. Velvet Sky versus Madison Rayne versus Mickie James versus Winter.
And our guest referee for the evening, the VP of the Knockout Division, Ken Jarrett.
Wow, look at how lovely Karen Jarrett looks in that referee outfit. She looks phenomenal. I've never had a ref look that good in my matches.
Never.
Oh, that she's got the company logo on there.
What did I tell you?
Exactly halfway through the pay-per-view, and it's time for Madison Rayne versus Mickie James versus Winter versus... Who's the fourth bird in this match?
I don't know, probably someone named Tiffany or some shit.
So the winner of the match, Velvet Sky. Honestly, when she's walking in, they take every opportunity to get a butt shot of her.
Yep.
They did that with all the women as well.
Taz chokes on his words, but this time it's probably not his own fault.
No.
It's like borderline obscene.
Gentlemen, what do you think about this music that these female wrestlers are coming out to? I thought Madison Rayne's was absolutely shocking. Mickie James came out as Mickey Jericho. She was vibing that whole with the hat, with the $2 store hat. The same kind of female Judas song kind of.
There's like the bedazzled like fedora and the weird pinstripe suit jacket.
But at this point though, Jericho hadn't done this yet. No.
Oh.
So maybe Jericho's just stolen over Mickey.
Maybe he's not the master of reinvention. Maybe he's the master of plagiarism.
Mickey James was on his list.
What is it with another thing? What is it with TNA and naming people really abstract one name things? They've had Crimson, Winter.
All their weird one named people come out to the same sort of like strange emo alternative music that's like just definitely non-licensed.
Yeah.
Like that felt like an extended Buffy sequence or something.
It's just all weird artsy shit. I don't like it.
What about the gimmicks, boys? What do we think about these gimmicks?
Do they all essentially not have the same gimmick? Like,
see, Mickey James was a cowboy kind of, a Jericho-y kind of, but
she'll ride the mechanical bull at the bar.
Yeah.
Sort of
that's
cowboy.
quite Mickey James, actually.
Yeah, that's properly Mickey James.
She'd be good at it, I'm sure. Who else was there? There was a Madison Rayne's gimmick is a queen.
Yeah, she's like some
Army
queen
kind of thing.
In like weird camouflage, but like a skin-colored bodysuit underneath. It was very strange.
and there was some alliance going on there with Karen Jarrett, which wasn't exactly explained at any point.
Fellas, Karen Jarrett's music. What do we think? It's probably the best one out of them.
It stole the entire thing.
They should have it for someone better, for sure. Okay, so the match begins, and what the fuck are we watching?
No point do they really explain the rules. It's not something you can figure out.
They do have a tail of the tape.
Tail of the tape.
Of all the gimmicks, that just didn't make any sense. The only thing that worked in that match was Mickey James.
Mickey James can work. They'd surely have a great roster, but it's just out of the people they've chosen. I can't remember being back in 2010 or 11 watching. They probably didn't watch it, but these female wrestlers, you'd find them hot as a kid, right? As like a young lad, you'd say, "Oh, this is good shit. They've got the boobs." You know what I mean? As a child, this would be not as a child. Sorry, as like a young teen.
Maturing adult going into puberty.
That would be like that generation's Sears catalog.
So I think the main grievance we can say that we had with this match is that it looked like a tag match in the beginning. There were two competitors inside the ring and two on either side of each corner, and we were saying this is for the title. What's going on here?
Was there a tag at any point in the match? Did you guys notice a tag?
I think they were confused as well because at the start you had Mickey James and the other one walking around the middle. And then, you had Madison Rayne and then Velvet Sky, whatever her name was.
On the outside? Yeah.
Just, they weren't on the outside. They were standing in the corner. And then, Karen Jarrett's just like, "What's going on? Get out!" And they sort of just hang off out into the ropes and just stand there.
Yeah.
Waiting for a tag that's never going to come.
At one point, Karen does say, "Oh, you didn't tag in."
She does?
She does.
She does?
She does yell out, "You didn't tag in." But nobody does tag in at any point. I'm pretty sure of that.
I think this is TNA's kind of either that because we've seen male fatal four ways or triple threats which have been legit. I think TNA, without me making a big assumption here, I think TNA doesn't expect many of these ladies to be able to work at that level. Winter was probably the second best after Mickey James.
Yeah.
But not Angelina Love. What's her name?
Madison Rayne.
Madison Rayne and the other one.
Future Impact host Madison Rayne.
Yeah, they really can't do much, so you can't really expose them. And in a Fatal 4-Way match, the dynamic, the kind of chemistry of the match has to be that there's two people fighting between themselves, and then there's another two people fighting between themselves. One of them mainly occupy the ring, one side of the ring, the other side of the ring, with some people on the floor. They don't... I hate to make a sweeping statement like this, but I don't think TNA can book a good women's match at this stage.
I reckon if TNA could, they would dress up small men and call it a women's division.
AJ, we need you for an extra spot.
Grow your hair out early, AJ.
Yeah.
That's what Kazarian here would be a little bit too big for that.
Way too big. The females who wrestle in TNA are tiny. Like Madison Rayne. Madison Rayne's the one who does the commentary now, right? Madison Rayne looks tiny when you see her now, and she was like the second biggest woman on this.
Jeez.
Karen Jarrett Angle is unbearable to watch. She is not funny. She's not interesting. She keeps saying to Mickie James, no punching, no punching. What do they take the audience for? Like, closed fists is giving respect to the audience, but no punching?
It was just all very cringe. It was like she went out there with a few phrases to say and just continuously repeated it the entire time.
I reckon Karen Jarrett was supposed to just stand there and be looked at. I reckon that was the entire point of it. She wasn't there to really do anything.
I'd agree.
But what about right at the end?
Oh, it's
the
bad.
Tajiri spit that took about 30 seconds to do.
It was Winter who did it, right?
Yeah, it was Winter that did it, straight onto Karen Jarrett. And then she's rolling around, and then out comes...
So at the end of the ending sequence of the match starts with Karen Jarrett being taken out and Tracy Brooks coming out, slowly walking down,
coming out,
taking a slow walk down, eventually sliding into the ring and standing there and doing nothing, absolutely nothing for a good 30 seconds.
Corpsing almost.
Basically, yeah, you can say corpsing. Yeah.
Send for the Khan.
Did any of you catch the actual finish of the match?
No,
because I certainly didn't.
I think I was just staring at the wall, to be honest.
It was much more interesting staring at the wall during this match. I heard the pinfall and I said, was that a roll up? And then both of you said, no, we didn't watch it either.
I didn't see it. Was there maybe like one actual wrestling move? That Hurricane Rana that
there was
Mickie
a really
James
nice.
did?
Mickie James does a really nice Hurricane Rana. One where she kind of gets a whole body into it, and you can tell like she's carrying the rest of these women through this match. And there is another pretty set of moves from Mickie James as well. There's a few good sequences. And when she punches, it looks okay. It doesn't look like a really soft or weak punch. It looks alright. She can work.
How about those knees? Like after the beginning sequence of the match, which were like
Velvet Sky, was it?
Yeah, that were like a half a meter away from the face.
You could see the person on the opposite, on like the crowd, the front row. You could see their head there in between the knee and the head when they made contact.
That's
it
bad.
Was the perfect camera angle.
If I was to give this match a rating, being honest, okay, you guys might disagree with me, but I wouldn't even give it 1 star out of 5. No. This is that bad. This is embarrassing. Like I would never have any authority like this, but I would have pulled this match from the card. I would have just said, take this shit out. This is not. No one's gonna want to watch this.
Is I don't understand how that even happens. Like you've got a singles title that's being put on the line, and you're going to have a tag match with people who aren't on the same team, and the second that someone goes to pin, your teammate's going to come in and cause chaos. Is that just shitty TNA booking, or is that just like, what is that?
My guess is they didn't really discuss the match beforehand and all went in and be like, let's give it a go, girls.
Let's go all in. See, okay, one quick thing just before we to end off on this one. People give so much shit to the AEW women's division, but when you watch stuff like this, it puts it back on the spectrum, right? If you think about, this is 0 on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 would probably be like the women's revolution and maybe like the
Banks versus Bailey and
Banks
NXT.
versus Bailey. Some good NXT.
AEW's division, like they even bring in people from they had Thunder Rosa and that other one.
NWA.
Yeah, what was her name? The NWA one.
Which other?
Serena Deeb.
Serena Deeb.
They get her
Thunder Rosa.
Make it like a little bit decent, a little bit more competitive.
So I actually think Serena Deeb's actually from AEW, but she won that in
oh, really?
Yeah,
really?
It's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting.
So this is really, really bad, and this left a sour taste in my mouth for the rest, not even the rest of the pay-per-view, just like immediately, like for the rest of the day, kind of. Like this was bad, and I didn't enjoy any of it. Yeah. Is there anyone who's going to say that they enjoyed this?
No.
No.
It was a combination of just terrible working and whatever that match was. Like the entire time it was just like, what the fuck is happening in this match? I don't understand it at all. Like we're probably getting more to talk about from this because of how it was set up and because of how like it was booked rather than the actual stuff itself. Like you wouldn't find this sort of weird carny shit in like the rest, like the card before this.
Would you go as far as to say it's un-Australian?
It's very un-Australian.
This is very un-Australian. Women's sports in Australia is massive. We'll take it seriously.
Wow! Just like that! Congratulations to Velvet Sky. Look at this. I mean, a lot of stuff went on there. Woo. Referee Earl Hebner out there looking at Karen Jarrett, but the big picture is, we hope Karen's okay. With the losers at championships she's living, and there's your new knockout champ, Velvet Sky.
Mission accomplished, finally, for Velvet Sky.
I Quit match. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels.
TNA was built on Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles. When the doors first opened and people sat in the seats in the Impact Zone in the Asylum, they came because they knew Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles were going to be putting on the show.
This isn't about stealing the show. Sure, will it be a great match? Yeah, it will. I wish I could go in there and just beat out him and that'd be the end of it. But I can't. Once I get him in position where I know I can capitalize on him, you better believe I'm going to do that.
I'm shaking this monkey off my back. AJ Styles has been a monkey on my back ever since the very first day that TNA came into existence.
There's bad blood. It's never going to be the same between him and I. And now, at Bound for Glory, I'm not just going to beat him. I mean, I'm going to run him into the mat. If I can, I'll beat some sense into him.
This is the last time, AJ Styles. Christopher Daniels is going to prove to you, prove to Impact Wrestling, prove to the world who the better man is.
I'm going to leave everything out there on the mat. When it's all said and done, when Chris and I are done with this match, I'll have gotten it all out of my system.
Like I said, he's taken me for granted. He thinks I'm one of his plus ones. He thinks I'm part of his entourage. I'm not. I'm not AJ Styles' backup. I'm Christopher Daniels.
We got a bit of a rare stipulation match, an I Quit match. These are rare because when WWE does them, the idea is that the guy quits wrestling for a period of time, never too long, but the I Quit match is reserved for a very serious battle, like a very, very heated sort of battle.
So it's almost like an accumulation of the feud where it has to be the verbal words of I quit and then that's over.
Exactly. Like in kayfabe, I guess it's like the only alternative to like murdering the guy and going to jail. Like it's an I Quit match. You get the most out of it, and then you never have to see them at your place of occupation again. They're gone from the locker room. You won't have to see them, and just live life without their influence or burden. So I Quit matches are reserved. I don't know how TNA does them. Yeah. Maybe it's just an I Quit for tonight, and then I'll be back on Impact. In which case, they should call it an I Quit for tonight match.
I wish I could do that in my workplace.
Christopher Daniels takes on the phenomenal AJ Styles in an I Quit match.
So, who's worth more to TNA? Christopher Daniels or AJ Styles?
Well, it must be AJ Styles since they're talking about how Christopher Daniels is going to retire soon. So
at this time, AJ Styles is the bread and butter of TNA, I think. Like, they've got other guys for sure, like, I think maybe they've got, like, Sting and they've got, like, stars. AJ Styles is the only thing that they have which no other company really has, which is, like, a huge up-and-coming star who is innovating the game, like, every day with new kind of moves. He's ahead of his time. He just can't cut a promo,
which is a top-tier wrestler without a promo.
And this promo package...
What did you think about it?
Mate, I thought it was pretty good. Minus AJ talking, okay? AJ's pretty bad, and he really doesn't ever significantly improve on the mic until he gets to WWE. I feel like even in WWE, he's got some of the best lines. I remember when he had ones at a promo in Steve Austin, and he was like, "Why don't you just shut the hell up, Steve?" And that was like class. But other than that, like
I thought it was pretty good until AJ Styles started talking again. Then from that moment on, I felt like, oh wow, TNA is actually very cheap. Maybe it's just a YouTube rip of some fan made video. They've just gone AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, FMV.
Because it was a compilation of their best kind of spots together, like spots that they've done together. Like they had some nice Styles clashes, like really nice over the top rope, like sentons and like tope suicides, all the stuff you want to see. In that promo package, and that was what I think did also ruin the match for me a little bit personally, because this match didn't live up to that promo package that we saw before. But Daniels is cool. I thought Daniels looked pretty alright in that promo package. Whenever he talked, it sounded good.
Yeah, he brought the intensity, definitely. Yeah.
I reckon it definitely had the best production value so far, and it definitely got the best crowd reaction.
Yeah, people were getting pumped up, and Daniels is, I think, he's probably like the Ric Flair of the indie industry, like indie wrestling. He has been there for so long. He's been there for so long. He's so respected. He's wrestled in so many places. He is amazing. He's one of the best workers. He's taking the biggest spots as well. He's not like as charismatic as Ric Flair or anything, but he's an icon of it. But whenever I see him, he just doesn't look like a full-on star to me. Like, he is so talented. He's so cool, but he just doesn't have, like, the face and, like, the body. Like, he looks kind of like a dad.
Average dad who likes to cycle on the weekend.
Yeah, he's like a cycling dad. I don't know why I don't get it. Maybe other people feel the same way, but AJ Styles comes out, his theme, it's like a remix of the original theme that he used to have, which was like, do, get ready to fly. That was like the best theme song. Now it's like a weird version of Get Ready to Fly. Like, it just keeps saying, get ready to fly, get ready to... And I was like, fuck. It's not the same. Because his original theme song is awesome. This is the first time that I actually noticed in this pay-per-view that the ring is four-sided, because these two in a ring together, I do have memories of that ring having 8 sides usually.
Yeah, half the production video, the promo package was in an 8-sided ring.
Like, it does dawn on you like, oh shit, this is the four-sided ring. This is not, it's not as exciting. That excitement that used to be at that 8-sided
that
ring.
little difference that they had, where like the unique quality of TNA, they don't have that anymore. So why is it that they moved to the four-sided ring?
I don't know. I think a lot of the wrestlers found the four-sided ring much more practical. It's so weird because the UFC started picking up, like, getting really famous. Not around this time. It was getting more mainstream around this time, right? It didn't pick up till the Conor McGregors and these guys came around. But at this era, it was like the Forrest Griffin, Ultimate Fighter kind of time. People were getting into this stuff, and they had the 8-sided ring. And the 8-sided ring for them really worked. Like, it looked cool, and it was the octagon, and they full branded, they trademarked it, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know if that related to the TNA stuff, but...
What are the odds that Hulk just didn't want to work in an 8-sided ring? He was like, no, brother.
No, brother, I ain't working in no 8-sided ring, brother. Yeah, no, that would be crazy if he was the reason.
So, what did you guys think of this match overall?
I thought it wasn't good.
I thought it was terrible. I literally, I stopped writing down notes at one point, and then I just randomly I looked down and just scribbled. If it went back to wrestling, I'd be more focused.
Wow.
To be honest, I didn't mind the action. The action itself, obviously they're two very good workers. I personally felt like it dropped off every time. First of all, they brought the mic in way too early.
They did the straight Roddy Piper.
They did, yeah.
In that Bob Backlund fucking...
Yeah, that's the one,
Bret Hart match. Straight away. You quit!
You quit!
And then every time Christopher Daniels went on the mic, I personally didn't like it. What do you guys think about that?
I found that is one of the funnest parts and best parts of this match is when Christopher Daniels would talk and ask him if he wants to quit. There was this one really great kind of bit where Daniels opens up a chair and puts one end of it on AJ's neck and then sits down over him, and he's just giving him like a lecture, like a university style lecture. And he's like telling him like all this different stuff, how Daniels should have been the guy and AJ Styles was so fortunate to be in that position. And he even, and this is what I love about Daniels, is he even almost teases that he's about to say I quit. He teases that he's about to say I quit. It was good. He's like, oh, tonight I'm gonna make you say I quit. And it's like, oh, that's the worst thing I found out as well, because he's so decent on the mic. He's good. I find him quite interesting on the mic, and he's such a good wrestler. If you put those qualities into someone who's like got the full look but they can't wrestle for shit,
like Crimson from earlier.
Kind of like, even think in WWE, who's got the look completely but they can't work for shit,
like Khali.
Yeah, like Khali. Imagine if Khali talked like Christopher Daniels. That's such a stretch. That's so far of a stretch.
Imagine if Khali doing the best moonsault ever. The whole world would shake.
Khali, best moonsault ever. That best moonsault ever is amazing. So my take on this match was, I didn't like it. I liked bits in it. There was a really lovely bridge back reverse chin lock from AJ, and it just shows that he knows what he's doing pretty much all the time. He follows it up with a lovely drop kick. He does some of the best drop kicks in the business.
He does. It's him and Okada.
Even Orton in his day did really, really nice drop kicks. He just looks like he hits the guy hard, and that's a big part of it for me. He does a fairly dangerous running senton over the top rope.
What did they call it?
They call it a front flip.
Front flip over the top rope.
It was a front flip dive.
Front flip dive.
And it was so short, hey.
After this, I found that there was some really decent fighting on the apron. You don't see like intense fighting on the apron these days. Maybe in AEW you see it a bit. Not really in WWE, but there was some really nice stuff. It was ambitious, the kind of spots they were trying to pull off here.
Yeah, the power bomb that Christopher Daniels hit on AJ, which he didn't really go off even the side of the apron. He more went off the ropes onto the outside.
Yep.
that looked a bit terrifying, but I have a feeling that was also what they planned. So that was a very cool move.
Yeah, so there's good crowd reaction in this match. They're all getting behind AJ. There's only a few bits where they kind of kill the momentum. Daniels gets a screwdriver from under the ring. He brings it in and threatens AJ with it for a little while, and the crowd just goes... it tries to murder him. The crowd goes completely silent.
Yeah, but the crowd was louder when AJ dodged the wrench.
Yeah, when that wrench dodge was quite nice. It looked full on.
I have to say, the wrestling in it was good, not bad. As I said, I'm not really too much of a fan of the Christopher Daniels talking, as old mate here is. But overall, the finish felt very awkward with AJ just grabbing the screwdriver and threatening Christopher Daniels. But overall, probably not their best match. Definitely not their best match.
I'd say their fucking worst match.
Possibly, yeah.
It was monotonous. Not much. They'd have little bits of brilliance, but filled in like an ocean of mediocrity. It was at times just like boring to watch even. Like I wasn't even getting really into it.
Yeah, that's why every time, like my takeaway from it was that every time that Christopher Daniels started talking, it would just drain the entire room. There's one part where I just hated it so much. Like, it just slowed it all the way down for no reason. Like, how long was that match? What, 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
20 minutes and a good, 10 of it was just talking?
Sitting around and talking.
Sitting around and talking.
Having a gaff.
Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, the crowd was so weak that, he got this little muted, "This is awesome" from around it.
Yeah.
And then all I can hear in the background from someone is someone just screams out "steak lasagna" in tune with "This is awesome." And it just, from there, everything stops.
Wow. It's dire because this is what you kind of... The marks come to watch this. All the marquee guys.
This is for the wrestling fans.
This is for the wrestling fans, yeah. And they don't do enough wrestling in the match for the wrestling fans.
Yeah. AJ wins 3 minutes after being put onto that chair and getting lectured.
Yeah. Okay, so... My distaste for this match does not stem just from it being monotonous and boring. It's the storytelling aspect at the end. Daniels disappears for a second after AJ Styles is celebrating. He goes up to the top of the ramp and then he gets kind of blindsided by Daniels, who does a really nice... I don't know what the move is. It's like a tiger driver. It's like the one Omega does as well. Yeah. It's a move that Daniels does heaps. It was in the promo package as well. He does that on the stage and it looks quite nice. But... mate, you've just lost a I Quit match. You've quit. You're out of the company now. Why are you getting one quick one over on this guy who just beat you? Like, he was gonna hit you with a screwdriver. You said you quit. Like, you didn't want to handle the pain of the screwdriver. You wanted to live. What kind of work is this?
He stood there and just yells at him, "He didn't beat me. He didn't beat me." And then after he does that weird Kenny Omega slam, he just goes, "Who's the winner now?" And then walks off. I'd say AJ is probably still the winner from that one.
Yeah, AJ still won the match, mate.
Without a doubt.
I think Taz summed it up best. Just like that? Okay. Okay.
How many stars are you giving this?
I'm going to give it, instead of stars, I'm going to give it 3.5 dodgeballs. For the wrench that was dodged.
Nice.
Well, if we gave the women's match a half a star, is this at least 4 times better than the women's match?
It's much more than 4 times better than the women's match.
It is, but
this match made sense.
I also don't want to give it 2 or 3 stars.
The women's match is
it shouldn't be on the graded system.
I'd give this 3 stars out of 5.
I'd probably say 2.5.
2.5?
2.5.
That's fair. Maybe they'll have better days. Who knows?
We'll see. Maybe. Quite possibly.
That's that screwdriver. AJ, don't do this.
You gotta be kidding. No. Okay, AJ, I quit. Just don't hurt me, man. Don't hurt me. I quit.
Your winner, AJ Styles.
What the hell? I mean, just like that. Daniels, he didn't even want to try to fight back. He didn't want no part of that. He just straight up quit. Wow. Okay.
And Daniels not only utters the 2 words "I quit," but then beelines right away from the ring.
2 seconds later.
Angels wins on the stage by Daniels on Styles.
He never beat me. He never beat me. He didn't beat me. Who won now? Who's the winner now, AJ? You see Daniels come back out here. Because he ran out of here and just said, I quit, but you just heard.
What is he saying?
He's saying you never beat me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, kind of just flat out said you quit before the guy even could get near with the screwdriver.
Jeff on Jeff violence. Somebody get a referee.
Jeff, the front office, the production people, the merchandise department, every stinking wrestler on the entire roster wants to have nothing to do with you. As a matter of fact, everybody in this building tonight wants nothing to do with you, Hardy. They call this the city of brotherly love. Well, me and Karen, this is a true story. Went out on the street today as people were filing in, and 9 out of 10 people said they hope you, Jeff, they hope they never, ever, ever see you in a wrestling ring again.
So 2/3 of the way through the pay-per-view, Jeff Jarrett comes out to, of course, the greatest theme song in all of pro wrestling, and he's absolutely tearing into Jeff Hardy, just like kind of sledging him on the mic. This is 6 months gone from Jeff Hardy's Victory Road incident, and it's kind of sensitive. I think that but 6 months is a decent amount of time.
I still feel like it's way too quick. Like, there's people's in the stands with a Hardy is high sign. There's guys like in shirts where one is wearing a Hardy, the other one's wearing is, and then the other guy's wearing high.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, like, everyone knows the elephant in the room or what's going on.
Yeah.
And I guess TNA's kind of trying to not exactly put a spotlight on it, but they're kind of walking around it, if that makes sense, while still acknowledging the fact that he's been gone away for a while. So this is one of his first few appearances since then. Hasn't wrestled a match yet.
Yeah, they're very heavily asserting that what he did was very wrong and very unsafe. You've also got Jeff Jarrett there getting the best cheap he possibly could.
Just with me, right? I have watched the Vampiro documentary recently, the Nail in the Coffin one, and in every account of that, Jeff Jarrett is a fucking asshole. I've never met the guy, I can't say anything, don't know the guy, but from that film, it looks like he got really drunk in that, and then he went out and performed, and like he was making a huge scene, just being really unprofessional and stuff like that. It's quite rich from Jeff Jarrett to really give it to Jeff Hardy about what Jeff Hardy has done 6 months ago and is probably on the road to recovery or has gone through the road to recovery already. Jarrett says this one thing where he says 9 out of 10 people on the streets of Philadelphia who he interviewed today said that they never want to see Jeff Hardy in a ring again.
Well, 9 out of 10 people are about to be disappointed because Jeff Jarrett invites Jeff Hardy straight down to the ring.
So yeah, then afterwards we get a typical brawl where they're just going at each other, throw some moves at each other. Then we have some security come in and woefully attempt, keyword being attempt, to keep them separated. How many times did they go at each other? Even once security was there, like they couldn't hold them back.
How many times do you reckon, Mr. Mate?
I think it was about 3 times before the man himself, D'Lo Brown, came down, and not even D'Lo could contain the highness that is Jeff Hardy.
3 times, you reckon?
It was 3 until then, and then I reckon it was another 3 after D'Lo came down, and then the refs came to officiate the promo.
Just in case a match broke out and someone needed to do it.
So 6, you reckon 6?
I think it was 6.
Very close, it was 5.
Ooh.
But very close. And D'Lo got a pretty big pop. The crowd was getting pretty
they love D'Lo.
It is a good Philly crowd. They
chanted
the smarkiest
something.
Marks, yeah.
It sounded like they were chanting for D'Lo.
Another great thing about TNA, we go from promo to promo. So this is kind of like, it was a promo for a future fight between Hardy and Jarrett. And it ends with Jarrett getting escorted kind of out of the arena.
Yeah, while shouting, "No one wants you.
No one wants you here." It's intense. Like, he's playing a great heel. Jarrett does some great work on the mic.
He really does.
Nobody wants you here. Come on. Jarrett screaming at Hardy. Nobody wants you here. As he's dragged and pulled from the ring.
Well, Jeff Hardy, he just wanted to fight. And I'll tell you, I gotta say, man, Jarrett didn't seem like he was trying to break away too much. Hardy was.
Legends match for control of TNA. Sting with Dixie Carter versus Hulk Hogan with Ric Flair.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Hulk Hogan! I'd like to introduce you to my new business partner, Dixie Carter.
There is no single name that defines an industry more than Hulk Hogan.
This is it. This is the moment that we've been anticipating for months. Hulk Hogan live in the Impact Zone.
What makes you tick, Stinger?
My agenda is the same today as it was 5 years ago when I walked through the doors here at TNA. And that is to give back to the sport of wrestling that I love so much, so much.
I have no idea what's gotten into you, but this cannot continue. You have put me in this position.
What it's about is you have been conned.
What do you mean? If you have something to say to me, say it.
I've been saying it
No,
all along.
this cryptic language.
Quiet, listen to me. I've been saying it all along, Dixie. You're just not listening to me.
Yes, I screwed you out of your company.
Why? Is this the legacy that you want to leave behind? This is it right here? Who the hell do you think you are? I'm the Stinger, and I'm not done yet. You know what cockroaches do? They spread disease. You're a disease, Eric. And that disease is spread to Hulk, but it's only a matter of time before Hulk's eyes are open. And the real Hulk Hogan stands up. It's not gonna happen, Sting, no matter how hard you try. It is always gonna be Hogan and Bischoff. You still got it, Hulk.
This is not gonna happen. I'm gonna drop a bombshell on this company next week. It's gonna change this business forever.
So we've got to the Hogan and Sting promo now. And they could have done so much with this. I mean, they could have gone so many different ways with just this, the icon versus the immortal, or like way more cool stuff. Like this is a money fight. This is even casual fans, people who stop watching wrestling, people who watch WWE and don't watch TNA, may tune in to watch these two guys 15 years past their prime for Sting, and 30 years past their prime for Hogan.
It's a match where, even though we know we're not going to get a good match with them, we should have gotten a very good promo out of them.
Yeah.
This promo package should have been extraordinary. It should have been about how they're legends and titans of the business and how they're going to go at it. But then it was just a lot of weirdness and a lot of vagueness about controlling the company, where somehow they're talking about Hogan just took control from Dixie Carter. Because that's how companies work, I guess. Like, we just took it. We just took it.
What is, like, what I gathered from that promo package, maybe you'll call it, is that Sting is fighting for another wrestling company. He was fighting WCW, now he's trying to get TNA back to Dixie Carter. And honestly, like, it's all being set up. Like, how is this being set up? Because I didn't watch TNA at the time, but apparently it's Dixie Carter was screwed by Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, the angle is Dixie Carter was screwed by Hulk Hogan, and Sting was giving her like cryptic clues the whole time and saying don't, and the Hulk Hogan just flat out says, "I screwed you over, brother," and he's like, "Why, Hulk? Sorry, brother, I had to do it, brother."
That's just Bischoff booking. Like, what is this?
And to add it off, to make it especially exciting, Expressor, Joker Sting. So this is the era of Joker Sting. And
really delving into that Hollywood Dark Knight.
Yeah, living off the last bits of... This is 2011, this is like 2 years past Dark Knight. This is just holding on to whatever last bits of significance. That's an excellent movie. It'll always be relevant, always significant, but holding on to the last bits of it.
After that really strange promo package that just amounted to next to nothing, it cuts to Taz and Mike Tenay, and in pure, absolute, perfect Taz fashion, he takes at least 200 words to say that the match is important, whereas Mike Tenay says it in 3.
Did you notice actually in the background as they were... They do this for WWE as well, but in the background as they were talking, there was like music playing, right? And it sounded just like one of those waiting screen songs from SmackDown vs. Raw, like 2010. It was always like, "I will never down."
Yeah, it's like when you're waiting for the Fight TV stream to come back for Dynamite.
Yeah, it's like that. It's a pain, but I found that pretty annoying, but also nostalgic in a nice way. Hearing that noise. One thing I think we missed, and I thought was really a really fun bit of this promo. The only positive thing that I saw was when Hogan gets really worked up and he's having a verbal joust with Sting in the ring, and he says to Sting, "You want to wrestle me, brother? No, I don't want to wrestle you. You want to fight me, brother? Let's fight, brother."
This is the end of the line. This has been the greatest career I could have ever dreamed of. At the end of the day, Hulkamania had the longest run of anybody in this business, and now it's time to put Hulkamania to rest.
Is there anybody that's buying this stuff about retirement? There is nothing, Hulk, that's sacred in this business any longer.
I am so sick of you. I can't stand you. You want to wrestle? Hell no, I'll never wrestle you. You want to fight? I'll fight you, Stinger. I'll fight you in Bound for Glory. And if you can beat me, I'll give the company back to you and Dixie Carter.
The fate of the company is at stake as the Immortal Hulk Hogan and the insane icon Sting prepare for war.
Now we have the co-main event of the evening. The icon Sting versus Brother.
The Big Brother.
The Big Brother Hulk Hogan.
Yep, Icon Sting, Immortal Hulk Hogan.
The match itself, like, what more can we really expect? Like, that's about as well as a almost 60-year-old and a 50-year-old gonna work.
What about those entrances?
They were very slow. Hulk took his time to walk to the ring.
That's barely a walk. It was like
Yeah.
a stumble down to the ring. He came out to the Discount NWO Wolfpack theme.
Yeah.
That song was like... This one was like...
Just a couple notes off to get
notes off, yeah.
them off.
They just got like some Discount composer like, look mate, change the song up slightly. Let it fly. Joker Sting came out to a cool song. His song was cool.
He came out wearing WWE iconography as well.
Yeah, he was wearing a shirt from
The
WWE
Hulkamania
shop.
shirt.
Yeah, Hulkamania shirt. Spot on.
Jeez.
Straight money to Vince.
There's a bit of like weird jousting, like UFC kind of style, without any like hitting. They're just like going back and forward the first few minutes of the match, and it's like, ooh, are they gonna find some momentum? And then the second you think they might, Hogan, woo, yeah, woo, Hogan points out at the stage, and Ricus Flair's woo comes out, and man, he looks pretty coked up. Like, he looks like he's been partying. He's like G'd up. He's got like chewing on some gum, and then he gets it, he spits it out like halfway, just like,
and throws it into the crowd.
yeah, throws it into the crowd, and
He's got those thick veins on his neck and the blue forehead going.
it's exciting because, like, look, you got the icon, the immortal, the guy who's held the most titles, I guess. Like well, he doesn't have it. Flair doesn't have it. The Nature Boy. Come on,
The Nature Boy.
You got the Nature
The
Boy.
16-time
Yeah.
world champion.
Yeah, the man, like, by all accounts, the man. Yeah, Ric Flair comes out. It's pretty slow.
Most of the match is Hulk dictating the offense, Sting taking a few bumps. We go about, let's say, 7 minutes in before Hulk takes even the slightest bump, like
Yeah,
a
he
back
takes
bump.
a back bump.
By this point, Sting is already bleeding. He's already bladed at a certain point. Most of the work is gimmicky. They work it outside. Flair gives Hogan something.
It looked like it was sharp on one end, right? So I think it was supposed to be like a piece of glass or like a piece of sharp plastic or something like that. This is what I do think Hulk Hogan is really good at. Like, he's good at storytelling in wrestling. Like, that's his kind of thing. Always is. He's been people engaged and enthralled by him because he does tell a cool story of a guy who has to struggle heaps and then eventually wins somehow. He had this really nice bit where he hulks up, and for the next minute or two after hulking up, he moves quite well. That compared to like how he was, where he's just like barely stumbling around the ring, and like it looks like he's already clutching for his hamstring, and that he looks for those moments after hulking up. He looks intense. Like, I was getting really behind it, and the crowd did as well. Like, this shit is timeless. Like,
There's one point where Taz just goes, he doesn't rush anything. And it's like, well, no shit. Like, he started the match by just getting straight into the ring and then just, like, testing how far he could walk consecutively.
How much of a knee bend can he allow for?
Yeah, like,
how far can
seriously.
his legs go apart?
Like, after, like, random short bursts, you'd be able to see the Avengers if Hulk was blue, because there'd just be absolutely no oxygen flowing through him at all. Towards the end, after he hulked up, all the leather on his back just started to go blue from the top, and he's just, like, bleeding from everywhere, and it's just not a fun sight to see.
No.
It was the funniest thing of the entire match for me, though.
Sting blades pretty early when Hogan uses that illegal weapon on him, the foreign object. That's when he gets really busted open. And then, to my surprise, Hogan also blades in this match.
He sold it perfectly as well. He did the nice Shawn Michaels fall straight down, didn't he?
All straight down,
Yeah.
gaze up, look in the sky.
Yeah.
And what I think this match has come through on, okay? This is not a great match, but this match came through for me in that when they said this is going to be a fight, this is not going to be a wrestling match. This was a fight.
It really was.
It was entertaining, I'll say that at the very least. They're definitely better than some of the other matches. It was good that they kept it nice and short, the actual match portion of it.
Sting really does look after Hogan in this match. Like, he makes sure Hogan doesn't, like, at all have to deal with any brunt of the offense. Like, he does the softest Stinger splash I've ever seen anyone do. And, like, he really looks out for Hogan. And you can tell that Stinger just, he's for the businessman. He loves wrestling. He's a cool guy.
It's something that I was definitely thinking of where I would be interested in seeing Sting wrestle other matches around this time because he was moving pretty well.
Yeah, for sure.
So I can definitely see him putting on decent matches with other big name stars. Let's say put him in there with someone that can work, like with the AJ, yeah. Or even Perk Angle. Perk Angle and him, I'm sure, had some good matches in TNA.
For sure. So let's go to the ending sequence. A bit of a joust, which leads into Hogan on the floor and Sting applying the Scorpion Death Lock. So he puts that on and turns Hogan over, to which point Hogan taps and the crowd doesn't pop or anything. It's completely... I don't think they realise that Hogan's tapped.
I think they were tapping, but this old mate Garrett wasn't just...
He
wasn't ringing the bell.
Yeah, old mate Garrett hadn't rung the bell.
I like how Hulk just like did a sort of semi-turnover into it because he just couldn't get himself that entire way over.
Yeah. It's good shit. Like,
it's real good shit.
He's preparing himself. There was a lot of bits in this match where he was on the floor on like the and he had to get up and he used all 3 ring ropes.
Yeah.
All 3 ropes to get to his feet.
That first bump took about 40 seconds for him to like crawl to the edge and get back up.
He eventually got faster and faster though. He figured out the process of which limbs to put up first, what to grab, and then slowly lever himself back up.
So Hogan taps out to the Scorpion Deathlock in about 15 minutes, and immediately as he does that, Immortal come out. It's Bully Ray, James Storm, Eric Bischoff, a few others.
Big Papa Pump.
They bring out these steel chairs, and they are just going at it. They're hitting Sting pretty... Some of them hit him really gently. You can see that like stamping on the floor. It might have been Bully Ray or like someone else, but they hit him quite gently. But some of the people absolutely kill him. Like they hit him really hard with the thing. It builds up to Garrett Bischoff standing up to his dad and taking the chair away from him, which was kind of like a silver lining, I guess, in this.
That I do feel was like unneeded. Why do we need a Garrett Bischoff face turn? Is he gonna? So
it's very true. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why are you getting a referee over?
I like how Bischoff just straight up Abrahams him though.
Yeah.
He just offers him straight across to the gods.
Yeah, immediately.
Immediately, without second thought.
And he hits him like not hard, but like unlucky for Garrett, he doesn't sell it well. He looks like a bit of a stooge as he...
Yeah. He just drops to his knees.
And then rolls out the ring.
And then there's a bit where Sting's coming up to Hogan after copping this brutal beating and he's like, help me. There's no other way to put it. This fucked me.
Yeah.
Because it took so long for Hogan to help Sting. Sting would have copped about 25 to 30 punches and hits. Like what they'd call in UFC significant strikes before Hogan decides to do anything. And before deciding to do anything, he looks to the crowd for approval. He does all the traditional Hogan things and then bang.
He hulks up.
He hulks up, takes out everyone in the ring, at least takes them out so that they're grounded for a short time.
At which point
they get back to their feet, and there's a bit where Sting's at one corner of the ring, and Hogan's on the other corner, and Hogan fully hulks up, gets really excited, and Sting replicates that, and then they just tear the house down.
Eventually, everyone gets out of the ring, and it's just Bischoff by himself. What move did they perform on him? Did they do any?
Did they do anything?
Yeah, they
did. I didn't
did
note
something.
anything.
it wasn't anything significant.
Yeah.
That's just how uneventful it was. We don't even remember him. We watched
Yeah,
it
like
like
Eric
5 years ago.
Bischoff doesn't get the comeuppance. It takes Hogan all this time to help Sting, but it is a eventual face turn.
There's a weird sequence there towards the end as well where Sting was trying to get Hulk to do the Hulk thing where he goes to every corner of the ring, listens out.
Yeah.
But you could tell Hogan was just too goddamn tired for
He
that
was
shit.
straight up knackered.
He was like,
not
no.
in the mood to do it.
No. Just raise my hand and let me go back. Let me go to the back.
There's one last thing, and I don't know if anyone else noticed this or thought about this, but at the end they played Hogan's music, okay, which is fair, right? Hogan had the big save, but Sting won the match, okay? Now, if you look a bit carefully, Sting looks a little bit disappointed when Hogan's music hits. And they're raising Hogan's hand, and then he puts it down, and then he realizes kind of that he has to leave the ring now, because Hogan's supposed to have his kind of moment, because his music's playing. So Sting does look a little bit disheartened here, even though I know he's all for the business, and I might be completely going off an assumption, but he walks out and he looks a little bit sad, and then he walks a little bit quicker as he leaves. And Hogan's still pointing at Sting like, it's all you, brother. Thank you, brother. It's all you, brother. But Sting still has that kind of like, this was bound for glory. I'm 50 years old now. This was supposed to be like my crowning kind of moment. Kind of, I beat Hulk Hogan tonight, but Hulk's music is playing. And it's bittersweet.
Eventually Hulk went over.
And Dixie Carter, during the duration of this match, was sitting in the front row of the crowd.
Yeah, she didn't do a thing.
She just zoomed in on her. She looked really sad in the beginning and scared, and then at the end she was like, when Hogan and Sting were teaming up at the end, she had like a tear in her eye, like, ladies and gentlemen, I've presented you a beautiful moment in the history of wrestling.
I gotta say, the Dixie Carter's acting wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad.
It was like pretty, like it almost looked like she was feeling like real emotions there.
The most like she ever broke characters when she told that dude to get that sign out of her fucking face.
Well, I didn't notice that.
It was like right at the start, someone tries to put this sign up and she's just like, no. Are you serious?
This is the magnum opus, or what? This is the Mad Max Fury Road of her career. Like, this is the one big one.
That sucks.
But I didn't mind this match. At this stage, if you'd paid whatever the 40 or 45, 35 US dollars for this match, how would you have felt so far? Without the main event.
I'd wish it was costing me $9.99 a month instead.
Wow. What an answer. From the man himself.
I would wish that I streamed it, honestly.
Yeah, I would have wanted to find some nice legal ways where I could have watched it once, like rent it, but for like $3.99. You know what I mean? 'Cause we don't pirate here, so something like that. Yeah, like we just we have gotten Fight TV to watch all this TNA stuff, and I thought we'd get the Fight TV and we'd watch heaps of other TNA stuff when we're free, and I thought maybe I'll be free sometime. I'll watch some TNA. No, not at all. Not
doesn't
at all.
give you the urge.
It does not give me the urge. Just watching these to review them is enough.
This match was definitely not the problem. Like,
this match,
but this match is what you would expect to get, but still leaves you wanting.
I think it all just comes down to Bischoff's nepotism.
Honestly. That's what it all comes down to. So the end of this is that Dixie Carter gets to keep the company, I'm guessing now. Sting has the company and he'll give it back to Dixie Carter. So she can run it into the ground. But do not worry, because TNA is hard to kill.
Can you believe the picture that we're seeing in the ring right now?
So much here. We saw Dixie Carter hugging her husband Serge. You can see the joy that the company's back in her hands. Thanks to Sting. Hogan, he unites with Sting. And Eric Bischoff's son raises the hand of both of them.
You're right.
What the hell is it?
Think of the role that Jackson James played in this.
You're not kidding.
He didn't succumb to the pressure.
TNA World Heavyweight Championship match. Kurt Angle versus Bobby Roode.
I'll tell you why I'm going to remain the World Heavyweight Champion at Bound for Glory. I've waited 2.5 years for the ability to not only have a shot at the World Heavyweight title, but to win it. It doesn't matter how many times you win it. When you win the World Heavyweight title, it feels like the first time. And when you have that, you have a passion for what you do, and you know what you do is so important, you want to hang on to that title. Robert Roode doesn't have that experience of being a World Heavyweight Champion. Robert Roode is the one with the pressure on him. Robert Roode is the one that's carrying the world on his shoulders.
There is nobody on this roster that deserves to be world champion more than you.
All the nights that we rode the roads together on the phone with your boys saying they missed their daddy, it comes down to Bound for Glory.
You're the one, Bobby. You're the one. You earned the right to face Kurt Angle at Bound for Glory. You earned that right.
You can do this. I know you can. You have fought long and hard, 13 years to be exact. And I believe I'm looking at championship caliber right here.
I've been training my ass off to remain champion. You think you're gonna show me up? I'm the Olympic gold medalist. I'm the world heavyweight champion.
The one thing that you need to know about me is that come Bound for Glory, nothing is going to prevent me from walking out with that World Heavyweight Championship.
I chose this card for this match.
Really?
And fuck. What a mistake I made.
Let's start with the promo. I feel like the promos with TNA, they do the exact same kind of style. I guess all promos in WWE, even in back in this time, was just like some kind of rock kind of song playing, like some 2000s rock. This is 2011, I'm thinking a few years after that thing was popular. Probably like 2005 rock being played in like 2011, and they've got like a decent compilation of videos of little clips of that wrestler doing cool shit.
The promo itself I found pretty decent. Like, I thought it was like, oh yeah, this works. I can see what they're trying to do. Like, they're trying to position this as a face versus face, or Bobby Roode, the underdog, going up to challenge for Angle for his first chance at like a big title. So I can see what they were trying to do there.
First bit of the promo is Robert Roode speaking like he's just finished a race. Like, like breathing like, Kurt Angle, I've waited all these years. And it's like so brutal to watch. Like, I feel bad for him. Like, why did they make him do a promo? So maybe he's having a dart.
He needed some beer money.
Angle, on the other hand, sounds different to what we're used to. You hear Angle saying he's got a normal kind of voice. He doesn't sound that strange, but in this he sounds legit dumber. He dumbs himself down.
He sounds like softer spoken as well.
Like, this is a weird way of saying it, but it almost sounds like his heart's not in it. Like, we're used to either seeing Angle like happy and cheery when he, like, the early 2000s WWE, when he was like one of the best characters there. We also saw him towards the end of his WWE run, like the last couple of years.
Where he was a dad.
He was a dad. He was a dad to a black kid. But yeah, so we got to see two different aspects of like where he generally seemed cheerful, but across this match and through the promo, it just looks like he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, I get that feeling as well. He's just offering nothing into it. The whole entire thing, I was just not interested in that promo package at all.
Really, I have to disagree. I thought both guys looked like stars. They had the coolest clips of them doing stuff. Like Angle doing that moonsault off the steel cage from like a highlight. I think it was like Lockdown or something. They had the highlight of that. It's good. I thought the walkouts as well. This is the main event for their biggest event. You have to remember this. Like,
yeah.
In light of that,
it was pretty piss weak.
Yeah, like Bobby Roode comes out wearing a black shirt. He doesn't really take his time. He just walks down to the ring. No, not much pyro or anything. I don't think there was any pyro, was there?
No, I don't. Oh, maybe just like a tiny little bit. I was more just like, it all threw me off the second Kurt Angle came out. Because he was literally just eyes forward. Like, his pupils looked like a solar eclipse. They were massive. He was just dead-eyed looking straight forward, marching down to the ring. But like, it was like a slow-mo march because of the painkillers as well. It was so strange. It was like he was mixing perk with like cocaine or something. He's got the march, but it's like very, very slow.
Like right before he walked out, it just all started to hit him. So he's like taking it step by step by step.
It comes in waves, brother.
It comes in waves.
Angle looked skinny. If someone told me, right, this is a not a clone. What's the right word for it? This is a
doppelganger.
A doppelganger. A doppelganger. A doppelganger of Kurt Angle. Then I wouldn't be that shocked because he looks skinnier in terms of around the shoulders, like the collarbone in this kind of area.
Definitely his arms and quads as well.
Arms and quads. You could even say he's Gilbert to Goldberg. He'd be
Angle.
Kurt Angle.
I thought he looked like Popeye without spinach. It was ridiculous.
That's a really good one.
Like, his torso was massive and then like his arms and legs were just like tiny. It was ridiculous.
As Robert Roode's coming out, the crowd behind him, one of the guys has a sign, and it said Roode and Champion, and the guy had spelt champion wrong. Firstly,
I didn't notice
he had to
that.
cross off a bit on the I, or maybe he made it a T and he had to fix it up. So there's that, and he wrote Roode and Champion. Now, if that says is, I take the statement back. I'm very sorry,
No,
but
that was definitely like
that is
that's
an and. Okay,
Yeah.
that cannot be an is. And the cameraman pretty much not just pans over it, he kind of freezes over it. He zooms in almost, and you think, mate.
Because even the cameramen for TNA can't spell either, like their fans.
And you could clearly tell, like, he was like very proud of the sign as well, because like, oh, this is a play on beer and money, Roode and Champion. So that's probably what he was going for. But
Shit, I didn't even think of that, mate. That's you're so strong. The crowd is behind Roode for sure. Everyone, most of the crowd, there was a big Roode chant. I did really like the bit where they during Angle's entrance they zoom in on Roode. Just for a second, they cut the camera over to him, and he looks quite afraid. He looks like legitimately a bit worried.
I think any rational person should have been afraid in that situation. Like, if I had Popeye no spinach, but instead substituted with cocaine and Percocet, I would be absolutely terrified as well.
We don't know for a fact that he but.
What was that? What did he say on...
It's merely speculation.
Broken Skull Ranch? Did he admit to it?
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he admitted it. He said, I wasn't always on Percocets and drugs before
He just
my
referred
matches.
to himself as Perk Angle.
Yeah, but he did refer to himself as Perk Angle. Okay, let's get to the match.
So the match in general starts with normal punches and kickers. It does have some fairly big spots early on the match.
When Angle goes to the top rope, Roode runs up, leaps onto the top rope, and does a suplex to him off the top, and it looks sick.
It is a very good spot. Angle does a very nice flip across it too to really sell it.
It looks like he's almost done a moonsault, like a guided moonsault, but he lands like on a near his neck, shoulder kind of thing, so it looks sick. I minded that there was a 1 minute rest spot 4 minutes in during this match. Like maybe Angle was like perked out, but I was like, oh, okay, these guys are both good workers, and it's 4 minutes in. I was looking forward to watching this, and cool, like have a little rest spot, like be both down on the mat, but don't make it so blatant, like for marks, like doing like a bear hug kind of thing. Like keep it for later. This is, who am I to say, but keep it for later. It doesn't show that intensity. You know what I mean? I thought that was missing. It was not very Perk Angle of him.
No, not really.
One thing I did notice throughout the entire match is that Perk Angle generally wouldn't sell small things.
No, he wouldn't.
He sold absolutely nothing. Like, it was just supreme focus on what, like, the next sequence was going to be. And then he'd start, like, groaning and stuff on the floor, but then, like, because his eyelids are strapped to his forehead, he just, like, can't sell it at all.
He does do a really nice sell the second time Roode suplexes him off the top rope.
Yeah.
So they do a few of those in the match.
There's a couple, yeah.
So in this match, there are some spots that are done again and again and again. There is about 5 crossfaces in this match, all done by Roode.
I would say overall I did like the crossface spots where the whole focus of it was Angle reversing it into different methods.
Yes.
And Roode just applying it again and again through, I assume, different intensities. Moving it up, where covering his eyes, covering his face, pulling it back stronger. Where like the comedy team, like Taz, is I think selling that he's got like a neck problem as well.
Yeah.
Which I think worked decent well.
Angle does some pretty shit suplexes, like just on the mat, and it's only because Roode is quite a big guy. Like he's bigger than Angle by a bit, and he can't really make it look sick. Like Angle couldn't make Mark Henry look sick doing a suplex. He couldn't, like, it would just look average. It would just be Mark Henry falling on his back. But there is one move that I really liked. I thought it was a bit ahead of its time. Following a great release belly to belly, Roode gets DDT'd from Angle in the middle of the ring.
Oh yeah.
And he sells it
That was very nice.
like so nicely. Do you remember seeing that one?
I think I did. It was towards the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about halfway in. He does it, and he like is perpendicular to the ground. Like he's like he's like head up. Like I always use the same examples and reference. Like it's kind of like how those really intense wrestlers like Sammy Guevara or like Will Ospreay or like those guys sell their moves. Like they make it look sick or like Pac as well, I guess. Ray Phoenix and these guys, they make it look sick when they get hit with DDTs. It's like a match ending.
It's kind of like a sell that like generally only the smaller wrestlers will give.
Yes.
Like people who don't have to worry about like a lot of weight on their neck. But like Rude doing that is pretty impressive.
For sure.
But, like he's a big dude.
It felt like a very proper babyface match from Bobby Roode.
I love Bobby Roode, man. Honestly, in this they were saying something that he's been wrestling for like 10 years or something already, and I was thinking
13 years.
13 years? He should go down as like a seriously legendary wrestler. It's just such a shame that it's unlikely he'll win like a WWE, like a heavyweight championship there.
Yeah,
a world championship.
He's just got to chase around R-Truth around the arena the entire rest of his career. That's
Sad
that's his wrestling purgatory, chasing R-Truth and sometimes getting out the golf cart.
Okay, so following this, we get our first crossface of the match. The first one when it came on, I was like, oh yeah, awesome, a crossface, it looks good. Like, I like Rude's movesets, like his moveset, like it looks cool. He's got simple-ish kind of moves, like they're nothing extremely outlandish, but he makes them all look good, and this crossface looked great. Like, he held it in, he was wrenching back and everything, and then it gets reversed.
Yep, reverse into it was an angle lock that the first thing was reversed into.
Yep.
Then Bobby Roode reverses back into a crossface.
Yep, I thought that was lovely.
Yeah,
as well.
that was very nice as well. Followed by angle reversing into a pin.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that was preluding, like that was kind of almost a precursor to the ending of the match.
I did think here that the match would end a lot sooner than it did, because there was still about like more than like 5-6 minutes left in this match.
Yeah.
I did like how they immediately got up from the reversals of the cross faces and the
angle lock.
Because actually, if you remember, the last reversal that Angle does of the crossface, he doesn't actually pin him. He actually does an angle slam.
Yeah,
to
he
him,
does an angle slam.
and it is a sick angle slam. So he's picked him. He's in a crossface position. He gets him up over his shoulder to do a mental angle slam. And this is followed by, honestly, a sick spine buster by Robert Roode. So it's the offense. It's like a decent amount of offense from either side. And then one of the best fisherman suplexes, leaning into like a bridging pin. Oh, it looks so good. Two guys who can work.
Yeah, that was very
clean.
It was such a clean ending.
So the crowd gets into this like so much more after this fisherman suplex, like because there's been close pins during this match, but this is the real one. You think, oh shit, maybe this is the end of Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
The crowd is really into it now.
I feel like they might have been more into it because just the entire match, because Kurt Angle just did not pay any attention to the crowd at all. He took off the straps. He did that, and then nothing. Didn't look at the crowd once, didn't address them at all. It was just back and forth, and it honestly felt like Dynamite just as COVID hit. And then the wrestlers couldn't, like, sort of play to the crowd at all because there was no one there. They just, like, focus on the match and then get out. Like, it felt like some weird shit because he was just way too focused on what's going on. He was 10 minutes into his trip by then, wasn't he? Or was that 16?
I think close to 16. I could really tell this was the end of the match now, or closing in on the end, because there's heaps and heaps of counters, and they all look quite good. Rude kicks out of a really, really brutal looking angle slam. Like Angle really yanks him up and drills him into the ground, and he gets a huge pop for kicking out of this. And at this point I was like, this is the main event for Bound for Glory. This is possibly that big escape or that big saving grace for the baby face. And sorry, I forgot to mention, Angle does low blow him right before this. So he does a behind the referee's back. He does a low blow.
Another spot where one of the wrestlers goes on to top of the ring, and then whoever's on the ground counters it in a certain way, which has happened a few times in this match, where Angle pulls the ref in front of Bobby Roode, and then while the ref's not looking, just a low blow. What was that followed by? Was that followed by
3 German suplexes. Sorry, 2 German suplexes, and the last one, Robert Roode reverses into, guess what?
A crossface.
Another crossface. So this is the 4th crossface in the match. Possibly the 5th. Even Mike Tenay says at this point, like, how impressive it is that he's managed to get Angle in this position this many times. It is nice, but at this point I was like, it's slightly lazy. In total, I reckon... How long do you reckon he has him in that crossface during the duration of the match?
Like 4 to 5 minutes. It has to be 4 to 5 minutes.
It would be 4 minutes.
It was a long time it was in it. Like, I remember the first time Angle gets up and then it's reversed straight back into a crossface. All I could think was, for fuck's sake, we've just watched 3 or 4 minutes of cross-facing and now we're going to have to watch another sequence of it.
And this is the end of the match now. There's nothing dirty here. It's not a clean win from Angle, but he doesn't low blow him again or anything. He just angle slams him. It's good. Fuck it, what am I saying? All of his angle slams look sick. Kurt Angle's angle slams generally, there's been maybe one in the whole match that doesn't look good. He looks like a star doing them. It's a simple move. It's not I could do I could do one of you right now, like one of you boys. Like
It's just a Samoan drop, right?
yeah. So he hits with the angle slam, goes to the pin using the ropes. The referee counts. It's like I'll use my book. Referee's like 1, 2, and then
goes for the third.
He hesitates and goes for the third. And this pay-per-view has been riddled. It has been dirtied with errors and botches and stuff like that. To finish on this sort of botch is unforgivable.
Do you reckon he had to call it early?
I think there is a huge chance of that because the second that the match ends, he puts the cross up and it looks that on one end it looks that Angle is injured and on the other end it looks like Rude is disappointed because he thought something else was gonna happen.
Yeah, Rude's definitely like actually like a bit distraught. Like it's not like he's working.
Yeah.
I think he does look genuinely upset.
Surely, like, the hand on the ropes and then Rude's hand underneath, like, breaking the plane after they were already going on about it. Is that, like, them cutting the match early? Like, surely that wasn't an improvise if one of them's actually injured, and surely that's not how it actually ends. Unless it was, and it was all on the referee.
I think there was definitely some kind of miscommunication there.
There's a way that we can get another look at this, Taz. I'm going to confirm what you and I both believe we just saw. Guys in the truck. Here we go.
Yeah, that same angle from the side would be great if we had that. Watch Bobby Roode's hand right here.
Breaks the plane, but Angle uses the ropes for leverage at the same time.
Yeah, Roode got screwed big time. What a shame. That was a hell of a match. Doesn't matter, though. That was a great match. Bobby Roode, extremely disappointed. Sometimes that's just the way it goes down, man. Nothing to be ashamed about, Bobby. That was a hell of a match, hell of a fight. Get screwed. Kurt looks like he's hurting a little bit.
And you can sense the disappointment on the face of Rude.
Closing thoughts.
What I really thought about this pay-per-view is this could have been exceptional. This had some matches which I would have really enjoyed rewatching. I don't think I'll ever rewatch this. The one with Mr. Anderson and Bully Ray, that was cool, ended with a terrible botch.
Yeah.
I thought this match was really good. It ended with a terrible botch.
I think the only thing that I might rewatch is RVD vs. Jerry Lynn. Just because I got to enjoy watching and waiting for some sort of strange botch to occur, just because of the mechanics of how the match would go.
Was that a botched match, do you remember?
Yeah. There was another one of the RVD does his flip, picks up, throws a chair, and then just like kicks the chair, but like they fuck it up and he throws it way too high, sort of thing. Same like against Rhino.
This is once again speculation, right? But if you look at the people who came out people who have participated in this, you can assign like some sort of drug to like so many of them. Okay, you got Kurt Angle. Okay, we're not going to even say it. Okay, you got Jeff Hardy, sorry. Probably
pretty much
meth
everything.
Or whatever they do in America.
What do they have under the sun?
I'm not even saying that these guys probably do that thing. It's just the association, the reputation that they've built from stories from other people, stories that you hear of suspensions and stuff like that. Who else was there? Jarrett came out. He's like a proper alcoholic, I'm pretty sure. There was...
RVD was there.
RVD, yeah.
Jerry
RVD.
Lynn's there.
I think Jerry Lynn does this.
Jerry Lynn might be alright.
He might have like a cold one here and there, maybe a doobie or something, but... RVD is literally a Snoop fucking Dogg wrestler.
He is.
Like it's worked his way into his like gimmick, kind of, not in like the eyes of Vince, but in the eyes of the rest of the world. Let's try and do an quick overall views on this pay-per-view.
Alright, so overall, my thinking of this pay-per-view was that it's definitely better than what I expected from a TNA pay-per-view. There were some matches that I did enjoy, some promos that I did enjoy, but at the end of the day, it still did leave a sour taste in my mouth, because you get to thinking about everything that they could have achieved with like the assets that they have in play at the moment, where they have the biggest, greatest names that have ever been in wrestling. And you don't even necessarily need to put them in like a wrestling context. You can just put them in as bloody managers. Like put Hulk managing someone, put Hulk on...
Like what AEW is doing.
Yeah. Like exactly what AEW is doing. We don't need to see them like struggle to run around, blay themselves. Put them in the story.
I like that.
Don't put them
I
in
like
the
that.
match.
Imagine if Ric Flair managed like Robert Roode or something like that. and he had him come out, and he'd just like
A
G
glorious gimmick.
and he came with a robe, and oh my god, dude, that's booking.
Like, it was not terrible, but it just left so much to be desired by my eye.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I was expecting nothing, and I got a smidgen more than nothing. At least this time I didn't have to watch like through 2.5 hours, and there's no like Mickey James getting your hair covered in piss in this one, and there's no Rhino having to like dive across the ring to hit RVD. Like there was a couple nice clean things.
Or Rhino having to struggle to feed his wife and his kids.
Yeah, there's no Rhino cutting a promo about struggling to feed his wife and kids and dog.
No, it's RVD that has to feed his dog.
This, like, it started off fairly strong. Like, it was nice and enjoyable. And then it all just started going downhill. What was it? Bully Ray starts his promo off by saying he was raped the entire Philadelphia crowd for years.
Oh, that honestly,
15 years.
For 15 years.
If I were to highlight a certain thing that was my favorite thing throughout the pay-per-view, it was Bully Ray's promo before walking out. That is the part that I enjoyed the most.
Oh, there's just so much. Like, that comes up, and then what else is there? Like, it's just that match ends at a botch. You've got a whole bunch of like promising things that like I come away from this thinking about like what the fuck are they doing? Like that women's match, that was a fatal 4-way tag match for the title that had predictable plot points, and it just doesn't make sense at all. And then you've got two legends walking around waiting to get the injections into their knees after the match.
At least they'll be the first to get the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, that's true. At least they'll be getting the COVID vaccine.
But they
first.
live in America, so God knows, like,
God knows what's going on there.
Yeah, poor guys. I will never rewatch this pay-per-view. Even if I'm bored out of my mind, even if I have to do like a quarantine for 14 days, I will find enough pay-per-views to fill the time 14 days times 24 and not need to watch this one. This is that far down that I had to rate every pay-per-view that I like. Like, there's some pay-per-views that I've watched heaps of times. Royal Rumble 2006, Survivor Series 2002, ECW One Night Stand 2006, 2005 as well, the same event. These are events that I really like. This was, I'd say, slightly higher than my expectations. And the real reason I'm not saying that... It's like a C- for me. I thought it'd be like a D or maybe an F.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason why it's not a C+ or a B- is because the endings of so many fucking matches were botched, and that's like the wrestlers have done in most of these things a great job of telling a story, of performing in a highly athletic way, like looking good, looking great for the duration of the match, and then just either by the referee making it look shit or by a small blunder like the Anderson one, it's undone all the good work. And I found this to be like a recurring trend in this pay-per-view. I think we've said this so many times, but yeah, it leaves like a bad taste in your mouth. But especially when we're buying Fight TV, Impact Plus to watch this stuff like this, and also wasting time watching this stuff. Like, it was fun to watch. Like, of course it's fun to watch. Yeah. Like,
we love wrestling.
Like, it's fucking fun to watch, but we're used to so much better wrestling, and even the wrestling we watch now is not great. Mm-hmm. Like, Dynamite's not great. Even the pay-per-views for AEW, sometimes they're not like All Out. The 2020 All Out was like pretty average, but pretty shit. They're generally, otherwise, their pay-per-views have been good. WWE pay-per-views are hit and miss as well. NXT takeovers are hit and miss. But this is miss. Okay, so that's... I don't know who's funding Impact and stuff. I don't know how good a TV deal they had at this time. But it's just shocking. Like, it is quite shocking to me that they were allowed to run. And with all that talent, they didn't have a single good brain to say, look, you can do this. If they used the AEW model of building stars with managers and building factions, which are good. Even that New Japan joining them at some stage and doing that partnership, like, fucking hell, this is a cursed company.
It honestly is.
It honestly is. But we've done it now, and
never again.
So overall rating?
I'd give that 3.8 out of 10.
3.8 hot dogs out of 10 hot dogs.
Yes. Someone's taken a bite out of my fourth fucking hot dog. That's how I felt while watching this. Like, I've come back from the toilets and there's a fucking bite taken out of it.
I would give it 2 hot dogs and 1 hot dog bun.
Ooh.
So somebody stole my sausage.
Nice. I will give it. I'm gonna look. I think your ratings are a bit low, boys. I'm gonna give it because I think 5 is like a pass mark in me because I'm doing it like uni standard. It doesn't get a credit, so it doesn't get a 6.5. It's higher than a pass. I'll give it just above like what I got in a lot of my subjects. 5.1 handshakes, and that 0.1 is a squirt of mustard and ketchup. 5.1, and I don't want to review many more TNA pay-per-views because unless someone somehow recommends me like really good ones that are great to watch, because this was recommended as a one which was good to watch, and it wasn't good. So
It was terrible. It was just fucking shite.
So until there are some good ones for us to watch, let's go straight at AW pay-per-views, maybe good WWE ones like Rumbles and stuff. And
classic WWE.
TNA, last thing I want to say is TNA is hard to kill.
It honestly is.
If you can make this shit and get away with it, and people buy it, it's hard to kill.
Yeah. I wish I could charge $60 for that sort of shit.
OnlyFans. TNA OnlyFans.
Ooh, TNA OnlyFans. Ooh. Ooh. That women's match was pretty much TNA OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a night when Sting unites with Hulk Hogan, on a night when Dixie Carter takes back control of the company, Kurt Angle retains the World Heavyweight title in controversial fashion.